Okay, I think I should be live. Today I'm just gonna play my game and answer any questions in the chat probably. Let me just grab a link and share it on Discord. If YouTube would load, maybe. You know, I just noticed I forgot to check if the timing on my avatar is correct. Because normally I delay my audio input, and I forgot to check if I got the timing right, because the latency can vary. I'll pull up Discord though. Boop. Stream is boop. And all right. Hello everyone. So yeah, just gonna try to. I think it was like what's it? Maybe 4 months ago. I was trying to beat this, and I've never beaten this game, even though I released it. I just tested it, and I know that it works if you do theoretically beat the game. And I've talked to people that have beaten the game. I think last time I was playing it and someone showed up in chat that had actually beaten the game, but I've never beaten it myself. I know. Did my controller disconnect? I might have to restart the game. Hold on. Why? Actually, I think this happened last time, where my controller didn't want to stay connected to my computer, and I just had to play with the keyboard, which, I mean, that's fine. It's more reliable, I guess. I didn't add a feature for automatic controller connecting and stuff. If the controller's not connected when the game launches, it won't connect during it. So if it disconnects during it, it won't reconnect when you when it's back on and connected to the computer again, it won't reconnect with the game. So, oh, I'm stupid. It was working. I didn't have the window selected, but whatever. I'll play with keyboard anyways. You're just gonna be able to. Actually, it's probably gonna be quieter for you guys. The controller is pretty loud. Lots of plastic sounds. What does the game name mean? So, I actually debated between a lot of names. It's a pun. So one of it's just straight up literal. So the main character is drawn to go down in the abyss, as in drawn as in, I don't know, enticed. So drawn is also a card pun, because you're drawing cards. And then obviously down because you're going down, and then yeah. I could have added some. I almost named it drawn down the abyss. I think there's another word I was considering swapping abyss with, but yeah, it's a card pun, and you can even see the cards up by the D in drawn. Am I gonna do an AI? What kind of AI are you talking about? And then what technology would I like to learn? Mainly just Godot, I think. That's the first thing on my mind. Right now I'm more focused on using the things I've learned to make stuff, and I just wanna use the skills I have instead of focusing too much on learning right now. I don't know. I mean, I'm always looking into learning, getting better at art, and then also music and stuff like that. I'm pretty satisfied where I am with Python, though. I haven't made an effort to improve my skills with Python in a long time. It just happens because I just keep making stuff with it, so it doesn't matter. I just noticed I was rubbing my arm next to the microphone. You could probably hear that. Benchmarks. I don't. I get all my workout from Beat Saber. Yes, this is a card game. Self-learning AI I wouldn't do a virtual friend type thing, but I like machine learning. Like I'm taking a class in machine learning right now, so I'm gonna be doing it whether I like it or not. It's a card game platformer. What are? Oh, this is louder than I remembered. Hold on. Funny story. My keyboard broke. So I just had spring break. So my keyboard broke over spring break. I got a new one for like $10. Turns out it has no function key or volume control buttons, so there's no way to control volume with the keyboard on this thing. So I had to write an application that runs in the background and receives keyboard input so I can adjust my volume from my keyboard because there's no button for it. So it's just like it's set up to start when I start up my computer, and it's just reading my keyboard input, waiting to see Alt F10 or Alt F11, and that'll swap my volume. Or I can also have Alt F12, which can mute. Yeah. Let me know if the audio is a bit loud or something, because I balanced it for the main menu volume. I forgot that the actual game volume is a bit louder than that. Auto hotkey. No, I'm using it's called like PyInput or something. Isn't I think auto hotkeys what they use in Python 2, or maybe, or was auto hotkey another like external application? I don't remember. I think auto hotkey was an external application. I've looked into all that stuff and I got it all mixed up. I looked into that stuff like a long time ago, so like when I was just doing like creating the hack from a keyboard, it was just PyInput. Yeah, so the deck I've got here is just it's a drone deck. I think that's the easiest way to beat the game. I have forgotten the buttons, kind of. I think it's Z for cards, up for jump, and then X is select, which is nothing here. But I think the objective here should be to find some good cards. And don't need a regen. Ideally, I find cards before. Oh, here's a card. Oh, here's a good card to play early on. This will just make the level temporarily harder, and it'll let me finish earlier. And I can go over this way and whoop, I'll grab that. And so, unless I see like a drone or something, I'm not gonna change my deck here, because I think the way I left it was mostly complete. I think there's some rare cards I wanted to add, but I think I'm almost to the point where I can beat the game with this deck. Auto hotkey has scripting, but is it a Python library itself though? I don't think it is. I think I'm mixing it up with something else, but I think I have seen auto hotkey though. Hello, good night, good night. What's your favorite programming language after Python? I have not been asked that before. The one I'm most comfortable with is oddly C, probably, maybe, or actually no, I would probably say I'm a bit more comfortable with JavaScript, just because compilers, I don't like them. But I don't like JavaScript, that's the thing. C is kind of enjoyable to program with, the process is more enjoyable, but you don't end up making much because it's lower level. Can you learn programming with autism? I would assume so. I don't see why not. I mean, like, isn't there like a thing with autism where a lot of times they'll end up super interested in some topic and they'll be very good at it? It's like, I mean, I don't see any reason why that. I don't know if you have any control over what that is, but yeah, I don't know enough about that. I do know someone who would be able to tell me the answer to that though. But yeah, I would assume you can learn to program though. Do I like C++? I've used it. I mean, I think it has its use cases. I don't work on that stuff though. You don't know where to go. You've tried SDL2 and Raylib and with C++ and stuff. So I mean, you can just pick a language and library, learn it, and then I think it's hard to tell going in what you're actually looking for. I think you have a better idea of what you want once you've actually tried something. So like, just try something out, maybe make a couple games with it, and then once you have a better idea of what you like and don't like about what you're using, you can maybe look for something else, or maybe you'll be happy with your choice and you'll stick with that. Yeah, PyInput's the one I did use. There's a different library though that's used in Python 2 that I think was succeeded with by PyInput. I don't know what the character is supposed to be. Did I have to make an enterprise start publishing on Steam? If you're talking about like a like registering a company with the government, I did not have to do that. But that is beneficial to do in a lot of cases. If I were making more money, I would do that. I'm probably not going to learn Godot this year. Ooh, I can't use the increased max health. And I can't use the bombing drone. I saw a card up here. Maybe I can use the bumper to get up to it. I think I was replying to something. Oh, the Godot thing. Yeah, so I'm probably not gonna. Oh, what? It hits so hard. I gotta like. Oh no, I didn't make it. I want to get up to that card. It's so hard to reach, and this is why you have jump cards in your deck, or why it can be ideal. Man. No, so close. I almost got it. I'll use this. I'm just trying to get that one card. Come on. No, wrong way. It hits so hard. There should be some other cards over here by now. Oh yeah, there's one right here. Oh, that's the one I need. I need that one. That's one I have to get early on if I want a good run. And then I can play this once I get one more of the energies thingies. But I'm about to finish this level anyways. Cool thing about this game is I can actually just pause it like this and talk. Oh, and read chat. Have I tried the Python arcade library? No, I haven't. But I've read enough about it from their own website, which I've told that their website has misinformation about Pygame on it. But from what I did read, it's worse than Pygame 2 for my use cases. So there's no reason for me to use it. I mean, it's probably easier to learn. I think from what I understand, it's more restrictive, and then for some tasks it's slower. I think some tasks it might be faster. But yeah, for what I use, I think from what I've read, it'll run slower. Like, I don't think I could make Vagrant my current project in arcade. Have I tried hacking? No. It doesn't interest me too much. I know a decent amount about what is... the term hacking has always confused me. It's a very vague term, and I feel like if I were to do what people call hacking, I wouldn't call it hacking. It's almost like a magical term for people that don't do it. But I know a lot of the I guess some of the fundamentals, so I could probably get into it if I wanted to. But yeah, it doesn't particularly interest me. I know people that are into that type of thing though. Yeah. Can you compile Python? Yes, you can. There are compilers for it. I don't though. It doesn't work. It doesn't mix well with Pygame, because Pygame's already interfacing with SDL, which is, I don't know if SDL itself is written in C or whatever, but it's a compiled, like SDL is compiled, so it runs fast itself, and you're just using Python bindings for it. So you're basically compiled to Python back to compiled, and so compiling doesn't help much with Pygame. I think there's some technicalities with the way the bindings work with compilers that might actually make it slower in some circumstances. I think I read that somewhere. But overall, it doesn't really do much with Pygame. Now, well, I think there's certain processes where it can, like if you're doing like a lot of physics calculations in Python for some reason, which you shouldn't be doing, maybe it'll help. But for the most part, the way I write my stuff, it would not help me. But yeah, if you're not doing game development, it can make a lot of sense. You're currently a technology teacher at a school, and you want to build a Pygame project with your students. The idea is to form small teams that work on the same big project. Too ambitious? So that sounds like what I end up doing for a lot of my classes in university, except we do web development instead of game development. I mean, I have a brother that had a class like that where he did that, and he actually ended up using Pygame. So like, and he had a team of people he's working with. So it probably depends on the age, but it's definitely done at a university level. I don't see why you couldn't do it at a high school level. Then again, I was fully homeschooled, so I've never been to a high school. I don't know what that dynamic's really like. I think at that age, if they're like, what, 17-ish, 16, 17, I think they should be capable of that. You just gotta kind of be mindful of the scope of the game itself. Because, I mean, you can make a super simple game like Flappy Bird or something. That's completely doable. Do you put cereal or milk first? I don't eat cereal. I have not had cereal in years. So, but when I do, I think I put the cereal first. Would I think Python is the best programming language if it were compiled? No, I actually like the fact that it's not compiled, because you could run it instantly without compiling. Yeah. And there's other benefits to not being compiled. Did they solve that issue with VSync using the GPU? I don't know. They might have. I haven't looked into it. I don't care too much about VSync. Like, personally, it doesn't bother me to see tearing. So I don't really. I haven't bothered to look. I think I've seen people talking about that. I don't know what the status of it is. How do I approach art for my games? I sketch on MS Paint. You can watch my streams where I do that. I don't use paper at all. Actually, no, I think I have. But like, barely, and I haven't done it like that in a long time. That's not how I do things nowadays. Alright. Man, it's hard to keep up with the chat. I wasn't expecting 52 people at this time of day. Normally people... I guess putting Q&A in the title put in a lot more people than usual. Normally this time of day with this type of stream would be like 15 people, not... Well, it's almost 60 right now. Alright, does the polygon follow my eye movements? Because you look very tired. Okay, so it does track my eyes, but I have it calibrated so that the resting point is halfway, for my normal level. So right now I'm not particularly tired, but in some streams you can tell if I am tired. It's just that the default state is already tired looking. It's just that if I'm actually tired, it'll look even more tired. So if you look and watch some of my live streams from the game jams, you can see that I look very tired in those towards the end, like when I'm doing it at night. So I think the last one, and actually maybe the second one as well, from the last game jam, I was like that. How old am I? 20. I've never heard of the neat module. I don't know what that's for. What advice would I give to a teen game developer? Just keep making games, probably. Yeah. That's about it. Do you use type checker? How do I go about type safety? I don't. I don't like type hinting or any of that stuff. I like the fact that I can swap types in a variable and stuff like that. I take advantage of it to help me write code faster. So I'm like so used to Python that like I take advantage. It's built into the way I think about code that I take advantage of that. So when I'm working in languages that have actual types like C, I have to work around my normal thought process to account for the fact that I can't just swap types in a variable. So I mean, it makes it hard for people to read my code, but I can write stuff pretty fast going that way. Is there no support for faster rendering in Pygame? There is. It's just experimental right now, I think. So that's in Pygame 2. I don't think it's. Last I checked, it wasn't fully it wasn't documented at all, really. I think there's just some example code. I need to look into that sometime soon. There's been like a lot of updates. I haven't looked at it in like a year. But it's mainly because I'm working on other projects that are already being written using the standard methods, using surfaces and stuff instead of textures. So I just haven't looked into it in a while. But I mean, it's a planned feature. Tell them about your rocket making at NASA. I didn't work for NASA. I worked with NASA, and I can't say too much about that because there's legal restrictions there. Or yeah, because rockets are technically considered weapons because the technology can be used on missiles. So it falls under some regulations with arms. So it's equivalent to giving away. Or if I go too in depth, it's equivalent to giving away certain information about like weapons technology. Even though it's meant to be used for rockets, it can be used for missiles theoretically. How do I deal with burnout? I just avoid it. I don't think you deal with it. There's tricks to avoid it. It's like I don't know that. I'm still like trying stuff with that right now, so I can't really give advice on that. I don't use ECSs for my entities. It's just it's an overhead that I find unnecessary. I have 40,000 subs. Yes. Do I still use tab 9? Yes, I do, all the time. They gave me a year. Because of the sponsorship, so they wanted me to try it out and stuff. So they gave me a year free. It's about to expire, I think in 2 days or something. But because I'm technically a student, I can use that free thing to get the tab 9 for free anyway. So I don't even have to go back to them and ask for another year or whatever. I can just get it for free. But yeah, I haven't tried GitHub Copilot. From what I understand, GitHub Copilot is it's more for like longer sections of code. Or at least that's the. I don't know if it might have functionality for shorter sections of code, but the functionality that people were talking about was the whole thing where you just like type in a description or whatever, I think, and it fills it out. Tab 9 is like on like you type in code and it's like standard autocomplete. It's just really good and it can have long suggestions, but it's usually single lines. I think there might be a setting for multiple lines, but I might be mixing it up with Kite there. It's 2 a.m. there. Where is that? That's 8 hours ahead. Is that like India or the Middle East? I don't know. Advice on growing a YouTube channel. So I got started by posting my stuff on Reddit. And then the other thing is like, so the YouTube algorithm won't promote your stuff normally until like you kind of, so how it works is you have subscribers. This is how I've heard it works. You have subscribers. When you put out a new video, your subscribers get notified, or some of them. And depending on how your subscribers interact with the video, like if they click on it and watch a good portion of it, that's good. And the more watch time you get from that, the more likely it is that YouTube will recommend it to other people. So if like when I say other people, I mean people who aren't subscribed to you. So if you want to grow your channel, you need subscribers to start with, because if you don't have subscribers, you can't get through that phase where YouTube recommends it to your subscribers to determine if the video is good or not. It won't just recommend a random video to random people. It doesn't really do that. It kind of has to prove itself first with your subscribers. So you kind of have to start, or not necessarily subscribers, it can also be people that just find the video as well. So there's like 2 ways to go about that work for me. Of course there's other ways, but this is what worked for me. So 1, there's Reddit. Reddit's great because it's like posts get upvoted based on merit, because people don't really look at the username. You can follow people, but on the subreddits themselves, it doesn't really matter who posted it. It's the quality of the content that gets it upvoted. So if you're making good stuff, you can get pretty high up on Reddit, and that can lead to thousands of views if you post it in the right spot. The other thing you can do is make content that will show up in search results. And tutorials are very good for that. So that's how I got started. And then I worked off of that to get started with the other stuff I do. So that's how I got the initial traction for my devlogs and stuff. So if you look at, I think, channels like Danny and a lot of other people that are in that area, obviously I don't want to do stuff quite like Danny. I don't want to make content for YouTube. I don't want the games I make to be for YouTube. I want to, YouTube is like my YouTube videos are a byproduct of whatever projects I'm working on, rather than making my projects for YouTube. So in that sense, I don't think I'll ever be like Danny. But if you look, channels like Danny, a lot of times they get started making tutorials, and then they go from there. So you can see that people are using that technique to get their channel started. But yeah, you can't just make videos in the void and expect, well, you can if you're lucky, but the most consistent way to get started, I think, is to promote it in places like Reddit, or set it up so it gets found in search results for stuff. Yeah. Alright, I'm behind. That was a long tangent, so I'm a bit behind on chat. So you are working with the government. I think the company I was working for was technically a contractor. It wasn't officially under the government. Actually, no, I don't think it was even a contractor, really, because we worked with the government in some sense, I think. But I don't know. I don't know if we were even technically a contractor, and I don't want to go too much into details about that, because not only did I not want to cross the line legally, I also don't want to dox myself, because if I say specifically what I worked on, I'd end up doxing myself. So yeah. How much do I work in a day? So I'm a student right now, so I don't do normal work anymore. I work on my games and stuff, though, if that's what you're talking about. But that's sporadic. That's not a consistent thing. I have not tried Game Maker, so I don't really have an opinion on it. I know people that have tried it, and I have not heard good things. I think from what I understand, it was a decent technology like 10 years ago, but nowadays it's not very useful. I've never heard of Redline. I do not have any pets. What is my opinion on Unity? I don't have too much experience. Well, I don't have enough experience to make statements on Unity specifically, but from what I have tried, so I mean, I've put tens of hours, like by tens I mean like maybe 20 hours into messing around with Unity, and I definitely prefer Godot, at least getting into things. So I mean, I have no reason to use Unity at this point, so I'm probably just gonna go to Godot when I do VR stuff. Yes, I'm currently at college. I'm not gonna say which one, although it's not hard to figure out. But yeah, I'm studying computer science though. Also, there are a lot of people. I've run into multiple people at my university that are familiar with my content. Well, they don't recognize me personally. like in the classroom or anything. It's just like this Discord servers for my classes, and then I use the same Discord account as I use for everything else, and then they notice it's me from that. But yeah, what year am I at university? I'm pretty much a senior. There's different ways to look at it, but for the most part, yeah, I'm a senior. I finish next year, or I should finish next year. What's happening? Q&A is happening. Haven't been playing the game for a hot minute here. Wait, how far are we into the stream here? 30 minutes, and I've played like 3 minutes of the game. And this is why I can't sit here doing Q&A when I'm working on games. It's because stuff like this would happen where I'm just sitting here talking to the chat the whole time, and I can't play the game, or not, sorry, make the game. And especially in game jams, I can't. I end up skimming the chat because not only are there questions like this, but there's more because more people watch the game development stuff. Sorry, the game jam stuff. I don't know, it's popular, and like once I get started, people know that I'm going to be streaming a lot in like the next 2 days or whatever, so they'll keep coming back, and so it's sort of on a schedule. So more people come to that. It's also during the better hours because I do the whole day. Normally, I don't stream voluntarily that early in the day, but when it's that early in the day for a game jam, lots of people come watch because that's actually the prime time for my channel. The time that's convenient for me is not a very good time for viewership. So like right now is convenient for me, but this isn't great for viewership. Normally I'd be getting like 15 people right now. Alright. Do you only work with game development? If not, what else do you do? So, as someone mentioned before, I did have a job before where I was working on rockets. I have not done that since December. But I do have other stuff I do. So there's like a competitive service for Beat Saber I'm working on. That brings in like over $100 a month. I'll probably make a video on that at some point here. But I have all sorts of other projects, so I'm not just doing game development. Alright, oh, hello, Boar. I see you're here again. Alright, I'm almost caught up on chat, which means I can almost play the game again. Okay, so you're saying that... So this guy's saying, okay, I will tell you the truth, you're making weapons for the military and your company is hiding this fact from you so that you continue working with them. No, that is not true. I don't want to say what I was working on, but I could say this actually, yeah. So it was a safety system. If you put it on a weapon, this sounds really dumb, but if you use it on actual weapons, it would actually make it safer. I don't want to say exactly what it does because people can probably figure. People in the industry can already figure out probably what I'm talking about. But it's meant for rockets, and it's not being used for other stuff at the moment. It financially doesn't make sense. But yeah, so I mean, there's other stuff where that could be the case. So I can see what you're saying there, but that wouldn't be the case with what I was working on. Yeah. And I should add that the company I was working for was like a small company, like family owned. So, it's not like it's harder to see conspiracy there. Like I would talk to the CEO of the company most of the days, I think. It was that small. I have a video on platformer player collision or like if you're talking about like with tiles, I have that. Otherwise, like if it's with entities, it's just Clyde Rect. That's it. What am I taking? Like what classes? I'm majoring in computer science, really. So I'm taking a machine learning class. I'm taking a databases class. I'm taking a class that's just kind of like teaching about the process of software engineering. And then what was my last one? Oh, calculus 2. Do I study all day? No. I should do more Q&A streams. I think it kind of loses its effect if I do it too often. But like I probably should have done one before now. But yeah, if I did them back to back, that wouldn't make much sense because people would have already kind of asked all their questions. But like maybe twice a year or something. Is there overhead in creating new objects? Presumably in Python. So yes, I do create a ton of recs each frame. I think if you went and checked, there probably is a decent amount of overhead, but it's so small relative to other things, like say rendering a surface, that it's negligible. So there's certain things where it's technically not optimal to do it that way, but when you consider it relative to everything else you're dealing with, there's no point in optimizing it. You'll gain like 1 FPS. or with the Rex, it's probably not even 1, who knows. It depends what I'm doing, really, but you gotta think about what's the actual thing that's beneficial to optimize. And there are things like that where you just do whatever's easiest. How old am I? 20. For some reason the game says Drawn Down Abyss, or is... Oh, you mean the stream? Oh, the stream game, yeah. In the description. So, YouTube does officially have Drawn Down Abyss as a game it knows about. I think you can actually search about it on YouTube and, well, not YouTube, on Google, and it has one of those panels that tells you about it. I think Super Potato Bro has one too, and then there's also one for me as well. It took it took a description from like a 5-year-old website I made or something, and used that as the description for me. It was kind of funny. I just disabled the website recently, so they might remove that card at some point. So okay, so this other guy from the weapons thing before saying, no, it's not dumb. I know what safety you mean. If the weapon falls in an enemy hand, you don't want it to be used against US personals. That is not what it does at all. It doesn't care who's using it. I can tell you that. A lot of the information about it is public information. I'm not going to tell you what I was working on. Like, so a lot of this is just because I don't want to dox myself. But you can actually, if you do actually know what I'm talking about, and you can figure, well, if you do figure out what I'm talking about, you can actually go research it, and look up some stuff under NASA to figure out more information about it. Yeah. Do I see myself dropping Pygame in the future and using other engines/frameworks? So I like Pygame for 2D stuff. I think it's very quick to work with. So I do like it in that for that. But I want to get to VR and 3D at some point. I don't think I'll ever fully drop 2D. I think I'll always be making 2D games, not only 2D games. I might get to a point where I'm mostly making 3D games. Who knows? But I don't think I'll ever stop completely making 2D games. But yeah, I'll probably get to a point where I'm using a lot of Godot or something. You just started game dev. Any tips on how to design games? So if you're talking about like game design versus like, I'm assuming you're talking about game design and not code structure. I don't have any advice for code structure because that is not an area of expertise for me, other than I know how to get things done. For game design, I would say game jams are one of the best ways you can get good experience with that, because you get feedback for people that are experienced in critiquing games, I would say, and they're looking for things to critique you on. So game jams are good. It gives you rapid prototyping and design experience for small projects. So, and you get feedback. I think that's the best thing you can do for learning game design. Well, I mean, I think you can also research some stuff, which I should probably be doing more of. So like if you like, there's probably books about game design and stuff, and there's like even YouTube channels that discuss it. But I didn't get into that stuff that much, and personally, my game design is questionable because I prioritize my enjoyment from my games over the enjoyment of potential players. Anyone who's played a decent amount of my game jams knows that I make brutally difficult games to the point where it's not particularly user friendly. For example, this game right here that I have not beaten, even though I've released this game on Steam. And that's why I'm playing it right now, or I was supposed to be playing it until I did this Q&A, but I'm playing it because I want to beat it, and it's fun for me because I haven't beaten it. Do I work with OOP in bigger game dev projects? Yes, you can see that in my live streams. So you can even just look through my recent live streams. When I was working on Vagrant, I'm using OOP. When I was working on Gleamstream, my game jam game, I was not using it. Almost all the code was in one file. When do I stream? Sporadically. I don't have a regular time, but actually normally around this time of day. Maybe I'll start like 4 hours earlier than now on average, but I don't have any regular schedule, just whenever. I'd like to get to a point where I have a regular schedule, but with the way school is right now for me, I can't. I mean, I could force it, I just would prefer not to. Do I intend to make a Metroidvania or very big games in the future? So Vagrant, I think, might technically be a Metroidvania, depending on how you look at it. Metroidvania is very broad, but Vagrant itself is a big game, just in progress. Would you say disorganized programming makes games bad? So there's a saying, I don't know where I heard this, but I think it's pretty true from what I've seen. I don't even know how the saying goes exactly, but it says something along the lines of, what is it? There are people that write good code for games, and then there are people that make games, which implies that the people that are focused on making games and don't care what their code look like are the people that actually finish games and release them and stuff like that. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. What was the original question? I already forgot. Oh yeah, disorganized programming. So yeah, I wouldn't say it makes it bad. I mean, if you got bugs in the end product, then yeah, it could be bad, or if it's got performance issues. But I think you need to look at it from a perspective of, one, do you need to maintain the game? Like if you don't have to maintain it, it doesn't really matter what your code's like as long as the product's good. So yeah, the second half of that is the product itself good? If you have to do maintenance and updates and stuff, so like if you're making like an online game where you're adding content a lot, or just a game where you're adding content in general, you could say it's a bad game just because the code's bad and it's hard to maintain. But that's only because it affects the end product like that. The players don't care about the code as long as it works too well. Unless they're modding, then that can be a different story as well. So I mean, there's a lot of factors there. How do I learn most of the information I know? That's a good question. So it depends what it is. I think a lot of it I just find, a lot of the stuff I know, like random things I know, I've learned from trying to make things and running into various problems, and a lot of times looking things up related to those problems I run into. So I learn almost everything just from being in situations like, I want to make this thing, and then here are the things I have to go through to make this thing, or things I have to learn, or obstacles I have to get over. And it's during those steps where I'll research something and I'll find out something new. And that's how I learn most things. So even though I'm in a university studying computer science, almost everything I know is not from my education. University for me is mostly like, a lot of, like, some of it's like some of the data structure stuff I did learn in university, but I was able to apply stuff I already knew, and it wasn't very difficult. There's some classes, so like calculus 2, where obviously I'm learning stuff new, but in the field of computer science, I'm not learning too much in university. So I think like getting the full experience, teaching yourself by trying to make stuff in your own time is a lot more effective than in university for that stuff. Well, for a lot of computer science stuff. Can you make Cuphead with pixel art in Pygame? Yes. Is there a Steamworks implementation for Python? I think there was. I was looking into that. I had it bookmarked, but I bookmarked it so long ago that I think it might be bookmarked on a laptop. and it's not even in my apartment right now. I think it's with family. You like memes? Yes, I do. It's funny though, because you probably can't, like, I don't reference memes too much on my channel here. I've never heard, or maybe I have heard of P5.js, but I don't know anything about it. Is this game on itch? Yes, it is. Yeah, look in the description. You tried Pygame first and loved 2D, and then later felt more straightforward and cleaner for me. How do you compare the two of them? So from what I understand, Love 2D is like almost in every way better than Pygame. Like functionality wise, it has a lot more. Performance wise, I think it's faster from what I've heard. The only reason why I don't use it is because I don't like Lua. I don't like my arrays starting at 1. I don't like typing end after every block of code. There's just a lot of stuff I don't like about Lua. I've tried Love 2D, but yeah, I think it's like I haven't used it enough myself to personally say whether it's good or not. But from what I understand, it's actually very good. It's just, yeah, the only reason I use Pygame over it is because I like Python. So if you like Lua, I would say look into that. And yeah. Is there a way to use async in Pygame games, like separating the rendering from the game logic? You can. It makes things a lot more complicated. I think at that point, if you're doing it for performance, you might as well just work on a lower level with like C++ and use some other library or something. Or, yeah, just... I think if you're trying to split up your processes into multiple threads for performance reasons, you're taking it too far. Because the main reason I like Python is because I can develop quickly with it. Once you have to deal with multiple processes simultaneously, you've lost that benefit, I feel like. So a circumstance where you might want to do that though is for multiplayer games. So you want to be able to receive data from the server, send and receive data from the server, and then you want a separate thread for actually running the game, and those do have to communicate with each other. But that's just inherent to multiplayer games. It's sort of the case regardless of what you use, unless you're like using a game engine where they have something built in, like a framework you can just plug in and it works. But for multiplayer stuff, it's reasonable to do that, and I would consider that. I haven't used async too much, so what I have experience doing for online games is using the threading library, which would effectively do the same thing. Man, I'm at 50 minutes and I've played like 3 minutes of this game. Come on. All right. You still have not beat Air Blaster, and you sunk 2 hours into your blast. That's cool. Yeah, glad you're enjoying it. I don't think I expected people to play it for that long. I can't remember how long I expect people to play it for. I think I was expecting maybe 30-40 minutes. But if you like, that's for people that are used to playing game jams, like used to platformers and stuff like that. So if you're new to platformers, I could see it being like that. Yeah. So I personally really like Aeroblaster as well, though. So that's like my current project Vagrant is based on a lot of stuff from Aeroblaster. And you can kind of see that in the visual style as well. So I'm kind of trying to build a bigger game off of that whole feel. Who inspired you or affected you the most? Also, who do you consider the smartest person alive currently? So, I don't... If I had to guess, like, answering this subjectively, I would say that the smartest person alive currently is probably someone I am unaware of. So, smartest is a subjective term. If you're talking about IQ, I've probably heard the name. But if you're just talking about in general, based on what I consider that term to refer to, I would probably have no idea who it is. And then, just in general, there's... Yeah, I don't tend to... How do I put this? I guess I don't really keep up with people like that. I don't follow individuals that much. So I'm always just kind of doing my own thing. How do you publish a game written in Python on Steam? Same as everything else, pretty much. You make an executable. There's all sorts of steps, and it's actually a pain in the butt, but it's not specific to Python. It's just that Steam stuff is a pain in the butt anyways. So you pretty much just tell it, here's the executable, use this command to start it, and that's the main thing. There's other stuff you have to set up, but it's the same as everything else. So the only thing is, I'd say, if you're trying to make a Linux build, that can be a pain. I don't know if it's currently how this works. I know when I released Drawn Down Abyss and Super Potato Bro, so what is that, 2018, 2019, they required that you supported, what is it, Steam OS, which is what they use for, what do they call it? So Steam made a console before the Steam Deck. I forgot what it was called, but that console ran on like a 10-year-old version of Debian, and so they required that every device that supported Linux supported Steam's hardware for that console. Well, it supported that operating system it was using, which meant that you had to support a 10-year-old version of Linux. And I had to actually pull out, well, I had to get a 10-year-old version of Ubuntu to package the game on, because if you packaged it on something newer, it couldn't run on older versions of Linux because of something called glibc, which is a dependency. So that's something you gotta be careful about. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, it's the same as everything else. So if you're releasing on Windows, it's not difficult. Linux is just a pain. I think they're gonna have to change that requirement at some point. I don't think they can keep requiring everyone that wants to say they support Linux to support what's like now 12-year-old hardware. Well, 12-year-old operating systems. Yeah. Have you ever tried Pilot? Very briefly. I don't have any opinion on it just because I didn't use it enough. What do you use class objects lists and dictionaries for? Or what's your criteria when choosing a data structure for something? I think it's mostly an intuitive sense. I think you just have to get experience using the different things to know when to use which one. There's definitely multiple options for every problem. Sometimes you want to make a choice based on what's easiest code, and sometimes you want to do it based on performance. So you kind of consider both those things and try to come up with the best solution. Well, obviously, you also have to consider just how clean the code looks and easy it is for other people to understand. But I don't care about that too much. It's mainly the other two things for me. So I mean, it's mostly an experience thing. Love TUD felt so good for you. It makes you wonder why it gets no attention at all. I think it's just because Lua itself isn't particularly popular. I have not seen that much like Love 2D content on YouTube. I think I've seen it briefly mentioned some places, in channels like Games from Scratch, but I think it's just people don't really like Lua that much. Not that many people use it. I don't think. I think I think it's popular for modding a lot of stuff, but not particularly popular for doing things on your own. I could be wrong about that. I know I've seen it used as a scripting language for like mods a lot, but yeah. All right. What do you mean there has to be an easier way to use Pygame? Pygame's pretty easy to use as it is. You just started out as a first-year software engineering major. Any study tips? Not particularly. Oh, actually, no. I guess I do. Just well, this probably doesn't necessarily work for everyone, but I think for most people, just get experience working with the topics being discussed. Like, get practical experience making software, and you'll remember it better. For me, that helped a lot because I went in and I knew a lot of the stuff already. And I didn't forget it because, I mean, I had experience doing it. I don't really forget it after I've worked with something like that. Oh, John Carmack. Wait. I might be mixing him up with someone else. Hold on, let me look him up real quick. John Carmack. You know, at this point, I could probably just straight up do talking streams. Let's see. Where's the Wikipedia page? Wikipedia. He did. Oh yes, Oculus. Yeah. I know him. And then, I know him more from the Oculus stuff than what is it? Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake. But yeah. I've heard him mentioned a lot. Like I said, I don't really keep up with people specifically that much, so. Alright. Any recommendation for learning pixel art? Same as game development, just do it. That actually may be questionable advice for pixel art. It's just how I learned. I would say that I've learned very slowly, considering how long I've been doing it. Because I've been working at it for, what, over 8 years now? And, there are people that are a lot better than me that get to a point that's better than me in, like, a year or 2 years. So, I personally learned by looking at other people's artwork, just kind of looking for the patterns in it and working on stuff myself. I didn't really follow any tutorials or anything. So I just kept making stuff because I was working on games, and the art wasn't the focus too much. It was just a thing that needed to be done, so I just kept doing it. And then like I follow some pixel artists on Twitter, so I'll see their stuff as well, so that plays into it, and then that all came together to get me where I am now. But yeah, I don't think my art's particularly good for how long I've been doing it. I think on average you would expect people to be a lot better than I am for how long I've been doing it. So I wouldn't take the way I describe it too seriously. I guess you could say that if you want to learn about as fast as I did, consider doing it the way I did it, but yeah, maybe look into other ways. You are a student from Iceland and competing in the National College Coding Competition. You code in Python. Do you have any tips to go deeper into algorithms? So if you're talking about data structures and algorithms, I don't have too many thoughts on that. I guess I'm making a series on it, like a tutorial series on the data structures and algorithms. But okay, when I did programming competitions, they were more like problem solving than testing your knowledge of data structures, because I did programming competitions at the community college level. It was statewide, so like since I'm in Florida, the state's like 21 million people, but so it's decent scale, but it's still community college level. They didn't expect us to know the data structures that well, so it was like problem solving stuff, so it's a bit different than the stuff you'd see at university level. But yeah, so I don't have the experience to comment on that too much. Now, if it is, if what you're talking about is like the competitions I did, then yeah, I would say just keep making stuff, I guess. That's what I did. I never practiced for programming competitions, really. It's just kind of like a byproduct. I knew how to code, and I entered them, and yeah, that was that. Do you know why Pygame has vector 3 object? So, I mean, there's not much reason not to have it. For example, there's two use cases that immediately come to mind that you could use it for. Of course, like there's random projects you could have that are technically 3D, and you're doing something funky, but just generally speaking, the common types of things you would see would be top-down games. A lot of top-down games have 3D worlds under the hood, so you might want to use three-dimensional physics and stuff like for that. And then also isometric. For both of those, you might want to have three-dimensional, like, you might want it to be three-dimensional on a logic scale, well, from a logic perspective, but then when you're dealing with the rendering, it's technically rendered in 2D. So for both of those, yeah, vector 3 might be useful. I don't even use vector 2 though. I just use arrays or lists. Any Python GUI libraries you recommend? I've tried. Was it Pygame GUI? What is it? Is that what it's called? Something like that. I didn't like it. I think it's probably convenient if you're new, but if you want to get into visual effects and making things look fancy, I would say don't use it. If you're like, that's from a game development perspective. If you're making some other application, then I'd say go ahead. That could be very useful. Although I would also recommend, if you're making some other application, you would in most circumstances you would want to use I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's Tkinter, TK, TK Inter. I've never heard someone say it that actually knew it well enough for me to assume they know how to properly say it. But yeah, you wouldn't be using Pygame at that point probably. Yeah, ECS, I don't use that. My thoughts on that are, I think it's kind of unnecessary. I think for some people it's conceptually convenient, but I don't see it as necessary. Have I considered making multiplayer games with sockets? That's actually what I'm planning to do next after I finish Vagrant. I've been wanting to make multiplayer games for so long, but I've had it like in my mind that I want to release another bigger game than this game here that I was supposed to be playing, Drawn Down Abyss, before I make an online game, because I want to see how I could, like, how much profit I could make, and like how viable game development is as a job for me. But the for fun thing I want to be doing right now is making an online game. I just don't have like I'm more focused on trying to see how viable game development is as a job for me at the moment. So making a game I can sell comes first at the moment. But so like for me right now, it's make the game I can sell first, so that's Vagrant, and then make an online game. So and then after that, I can get into VR and start messing around with that. So I kind of get a queue of things I want to work on right now. So I'm a bit backed up on projects. How do you go about bosses? A class object, a list, or something else? Also, have you made any isometric game other than the bush one? So the bush one's called why can't I remember? I know it's visually based on Whirling Blade. What was it called? Shifting Edge is what it was called. I don't blame you for forgetting the name, because I forgot the name. I've not made any other isometric game. Oh no, I have made other isometric games other than Shifting Edge. So I made Whirling Blades, which is the game it's based off of. So I've made 2. I'm considering doing more isometric stuff. That's kind of mostly a no at the moment, just because I'm backed up on other projects as I just mentioned. But it is something I'm interested in. It's just kind of low priority, so it probably won't get done in the next few years. How do you go about bosses? So bosses, I would probably just make it an instance of an entity, and yeah, it would probably be like a class that inherits from it. That's just how I handle like any entity. But yeah, it would probably have its own custom scripting and stuff. I would like override an update function and call this the parent as well, but also like hijack it and add its own logic. So if you're a patron, you can download the current code for Vagrant and see how I handle entities. The bosses are gonna be the same way, it's just more complex. Do I have any regrets on using Python? No. Or Pygame? No. Alright, I have caught up with chat. It only took me an hour and 7 minutes. I do need to use the restroom, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, although it appears I'm having some technical difficulties with my avatar here. Hello? Oh, there it is. So this is what happens when you use a buffer. You could probably tell it's very out of sync, so I'm gonna have to reboot this. So this is an example of when I used multiple processes for a performance boost. It's got a buffer of a feed, so I have one process that does the tracking and one process that does the rendering, and it's got a buffer on the rendering, and if the buffer fills up, there's a lot of latency. And then it gets really behind, like what you were just saying there, but it should be fixed now, I think. All right. You're here to listen to my English. You're from Brazil. That's cool. So it's funny because I was just doing the same thing except in reverse, except it also wasn't Portuguese, it was Spanish, but I was learning some Spanish by watching videos in Spanish. I have to like look up words a lot though, but it's like I would I have no I originally had no interest in learning languages, but now I'm like, hey, maybe I'll learn some Spanish by just watching Spanish content, because it doesn't seem too difficult to do it that way. I know so many people that learned English by just consuming English content on the internet. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? I would say no. I haven't had it on. I maybe tried it on pizza once. I don't really have an opinion on it, but I don't like order it with pineapple. Actually, speaking of that, I don't even order pizza. But I don't. When I eat pizza, I don't choose to have pineapple on it. Is it wrong to inherit your player class from Pygame.Sprite? I have no idea because I do not use Pygame sprites. Yeah. Is there no way to use Pygame for actual mobile games, which you could release on mobile store? Or sorry, I misread that. But you can use Pygame to make apps. I don't think you can do it for iOS, but I think you can for Android. I think that's the current state of it. So I don't know the process too well for how you do that, because I don't really have an interest in making mobile games, but I'm pretty sure it's doable. There are some people who know how to do it. I think if you just look up the Pygame community Discord, you might be able to get a hold of someone who knows how. Just like I know a name. I kind of don't want to say it, just I don't want them to be bombarded. But you can find people to know how that works, and then you can probably ask them. I don't think there's like tutorials for it, or there might be. I just haven't looked into it, but I haven't like just randomly come across tutorials for it. But I know it exists. But I would say that, yeah, if you're making apps, you would probably want to be able to support iOS and stuff. So you would probably not want to be using Pygame, but it is doable. Because it's also, from what I understand, just kind of tedious to get into and just learn how it works. What are my opinions on graphics APIs like OpenGL? Do you think it is a waste of time to work with low-level software like it? So I mean, SDL, which is what Pygames is just a wrapper for, pretty much, is basically similar to OpenGL in that sense. It's just OpenGL is more advanced and has hardware acceleration. Well, SDL does have it as well. It's just like the way it's using Pygame doesn't, or rather, SDL2 has it, and Pygame won't really have it until. I mean, it has it technically, but it's undocumented, and people mainly use the non-hardware accelerated functionality. But yeah. So OpenGL, I mean, there's plenty of good reasons to learn it. I don't think it's convenient to make games at that level if you're doing 3D, which is what most people mess around with OpenGL for. If you're using 2D, I think for a lot of, I think there are some other low-level graphics libraries that would be more convenient while still giving you the freedom of working on a lower level. But OpenGL definitely has its place for certain projects. Do I play competitive Pokemon? I play Pokemon. I don't play competitive. I pre-ordered Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then I had it shipped to my family's house, and then I didn't get access to it until beginning of last week, I think. Or no, technically this week. So I've been playing that, but yeah, I don't play competitively. How long did it take for me to learn Pygame? I mean, I've been using it pretty much as long as I've been using Python. To learn the fundamentals, I picked it up slowly. I wasn't in a rush. I was just kind of learning one feature at a time whenever I felt like I wanted to use something. But I think I picked up most of the stuff in probably 6 months or something. It was harder for me at that age just because I was like, what, 13? But I mean, if you're older, or just smarter in general or something, you can pick it up faster. And then also, if you're just more focused on learning it rather than messing around, you could pick it up a lot faster than that. But yeah, I mean, I've technically been using it for over 8 years now, so there's that. I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's over for you if you didn't learn when you're a kid, but I think there is probably an advantage to learning programming when you are a kid, just because it can, from what I'm guessing, I don't have anything to back this up necessarily, other than what I've heard about psychology, or I guess technically you wouldn't say psychology, more like neuroscience. My guess is that it can mold the way you think better at that, better at that age, so that you can get more used to the thought process for programming than you can as an adult. I think it's probably similar to just learning any type of language, like spoken languages for talking to people. That too, where it's probably similar to that, where it's easier to learn when you're a kid. Or you can learn it better when you're a kid as well. I mean, I think the logical aspect of learning to code is difficult when you're a kid, so I think there's probably like a sweet spot as well, where you're old enough to understand what you're doing, and also you're still young enough for it to, look, when your brain is still in development and it can adjust the way you think. Why didn't I use the Pygame Strike class? I just didn't. I haven't even looked into it enough to know if it would be beneficial. I just don't. It's an abstraction layer. I think there's some optimizations you can do with it. I haven't found a need to use it. So I just haven't touched it. I can't say there's a reason for me not using it other than I just never have. What's the best way to learn Pygame? Making games. If you're talking about sources, there's a book I recommend, I think. That's for Python. For learning Pygame, you can learn Pygame from my videos. Imagine doing that. You spend so much time making tutorials to learn something, and then you get something mixed up and almost recommend someone else's thing. Alright. How do you compile your game? So you don't. The way it works is you're quote-unquote packaging a game. What you're technically doing, well, you can technically compile it, but what you end up doing is you, when you want to play games, is you're packaging it, which means you're taking the Python interpreter and including it with your code, so that when people try to run your game, it starts up the Python interpreter, which then reads your code. Because the Python interpreter is an executable. So you could give people that, and then they can run your code. So what packaging is doing is it's just including that in there, so it's automatically started, and they don't have to go install Python themselves. It's already there. Which means that for every copy of my games someone has, where they have the executable, that's another copy of Python they've got installed. Well, not installed, but there that they can use. So it's kind of inefficient, like memory wise, but it works. Gets the job done. I gotta scroll up because I've gotten behind. This is what happens when I take a bathroom break. By the time I catch up, it's gonna be time for the next bathroom break. Just reading. I like it when you guys talk to each other because then I can catch up on chat. You like the card system? That's cool. And it's funny, the Steam reviews are like on this game are just pretty much like, hey, that's a really interesting concept. They don't talk about it in a particularly positive way, but like, well, not like they're not overly enthusiastic about it being really cool, like really fun. It's more like, hey, this is really interesting. And people don't really complain about it not working well or anything. Like I don't think people see too much of an issue with it. It's just, I don't know. I think a lot of people just find it really intriguing or something. All right. It's never a good idea to go into something with the idea that since other people have been doing it for longer, you're worth nothing. Yeah, I mean, like when I got into programming, obviously there have been tons of people that have been doing it way longer than me. I mean, it goes for pretty much everything. Yeah, because people, like, you don't have to be the best of the best, and then also you can end up learning faster than people that have been doing it longer anyways. Like, take artwork, for example. As I mentioned, there are a lot of people that have only been doing it for like a year, and they're a lot better than I am, even though I've been doing it for 8 years. Of the games I make, how many do I publish? I mean, I don't ever finish a game and decide not to publish it, but of the projects I start, I would say the majority, yeah, just because of all the Game Jam games. The majority of the projects that aren't Game Jam games, though, I do not finish. But I don't sink that much time into something before I decide to drop it. So I can't think of a project that I put more than 100 hours into that I dropped and didn't release. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I don't think. The thing from my last devlog series, wasn't meant to be released. So it was like, if you watch the first devlog, like I was considering turning it into a game and then changed my mind, but and initially it was meant to be like a graphical test and whatnot. So I achieved that. So that was more like a me messing around type of thing than a project I was trying to release. So that's like the largest project I worked on that I didn't release. But I mean, technically that's available on Patreon, so in a sense I did release it. But overall though, the largest project I have that is not released is Vagrant, but that's in development, so yeah. Or actually no, maybe not, because Vagrant is at like what, 70 hours now? So I don't think it is bigger than the other project yet. What does wrapper for SDL mean? It means that so Pygame is wrapper for SDL, meaning that you use a Python module to interface with SDL, which is not a Python module, or not. Yeah. So yeah, SDL is not a Python module, so it's not meant to work with Python. But using Pygame, you can use SDL with Python. Basically, is what I'm saying. So you're using it's the layer you're communicating with SDL through, pretty much. All right. What is the best chicken sandwich? If you're talking about like restaurant food, Chick-fil-A. That's pretty much, yeah. I haven't had that many chicken sandwiches restaurant wise. I've tried the Popeyes one. I would say it probably has more flavor, but it gives you a stomach ache, and you could tell it when you're eating it that it's just like, it's very fast food-ish. It's, like greasy, very greasy. So, Chick-fil-A is nice. I eat it pretty much every week because there's, one on my campus. Well, most weeks I would say, and it's just convenient because I have night classes, so I can just stop by a Chick-fil-A and grab some food. All right. What do you think graphics are useful to learn the fundamentals? My school uses graphics thing to teach programming, which takes an hour to get to the point, and everyone thinks it is boring. So graphics, I think, is well, okay, there's a distinction between graphics and game development, but I think it kind of goes for both. So graphics is an engaging way to learn programming. I think it's more engaging than just seeing a like text output for whatever application you're making. And that especially goes for game development, where you're making a game instead of just doing something graphical. So great game development is taking that to the next level. So I think it makes it more engaging, which is probably the objective there. Although if you're saying it's boring and everyone thinks it's boring, then it's probably being taught wrong. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that's why a lot of people, like a lot of high schools and stuff, use Pygame though, is because it's an engaging way to learn. Also, I think some people might actually find it easier to learn that way as well, when they can have a visual output rather than just text. I think that one of the modern equivalents of that though is to teach web development as a way to learn programming, because there is a visual aspect to it, because you're making websites which are very visual. It's a bit different. Graphical and game development problems have a lot of their own problem solving as well, so that there's an extra bit of stuff you're learning there, which is convenient. Because a lot of web development is just connecting things rather than solving problems. I started learning to code at 12. And I've been doing it ever since. I took some short breaks early on, but I don't think I ever stopped for more than a year. Have I considered looking into COD supports for my games? So, from what I understand, like, technically speaking, that's feasible, but practically speaking, it's not. Like, if I were a big company, I could probably work, like, with a Nintendo Switch, I could probably work with Nintendo to make it work. I think there's no reason, from what I understand, there's no reason why SDL wouldn't be able to run on a Switch. I think I've read some stuff where people have gotten it to work. But, so the way Nintendo does it is they actually have, like, modded versions of game engines that you have to, like, build your game with. That's how you have to make games for those consoles, and obviously that doesn't exist for Pygame. So even though it would technically be feasible to get my stuff to run on like a Switch, it's not technically an option for me. So it's just not an option really. So yeah. Alright. Have you ever used Linux, and if so, what is your preferred distro? So I've used a lot of versions of Linux. I've used Ubuntu, I've used Debian, I've used Scientific Linux, I've used Manjaro, and of those I've used multiple versions of every single one except for Manjaro. So like for Ubuntu, I've used like probably 8 different versions or something, I don't know. Somewhere around that. But my preference, like, I liked Manjaro until everything went out of date and just kind of broke. And I don't like that maintenance if I don't keep up with that. I know Manjaro was supposed to kind of fix that issue relative to Arch, so it's not as bad as Arch with things just breaking after a couple months. But yeah, so I was using Manjaro. I switched off to I'm using Ubuntu i3 now. Like the operating system I'm using right now is actually Windows, but the Linux distro I have installed is Ubuntu i3. But I think both my servers that I have, like the servers I rent, are running Debian. So I don't have too much of a preference. I guess I would say my preference is Debian, because I've been using it for years. I haven't had any issues, and it's also not Ubuntu. Ubuntu has, I think I know that there are some concerns with just I guess bloatware. But yeah, so I guess the answer is Debian. All right. How to test games by using automation. Do you have tips for this? Automation useful? Is automation useful in this case, or is the best practice manual testing? So I'm assuming you're talking about like CDCI, continue. What is it? I don't remember what it stands for. I should know, but it's like, yeah, continuous testing and stuff. But like to go along with development in an automated way. But like, automated testing can be useful for some projects. Game development, it's a bit tricky. And just with the way things change and the interfaces and stuff. So I've seen stuff where it's been useful, I think. So I think I've seen like videos of automated testing that's used for the development of, I think, Factorio. And in those circumstances it can be useful, but I think for a lot of projects, you wouldn't want to really test the whole thing. I think there might be some sections you want to work on or test. So like if you're making like an online game or something, you might want to make sure you don't break some element, especially if you're risking causing a security issue. So you might want to do it there. But for like when you're like an independent developer, especially if you're solo working on a project by yourself and like it's small scale, yeah, I don't see testing as a good thing to do, because if you're doing testing properly, most of the time you should be spending more time working on the testing code than the code for the actual project. And that's just not a trade-off that's worth it, because you can make a game with mostly no bugs to begin with without doing automated testing. So it's just not worth the time cost unless there's something you're really concerned about messing up. Can you play the game yet? When I catch up with chat, I'm kind of like racing here, trying to catch up with chat. Game engine or from scratch? From scratch is my preference, but it depends on context. What do I think of libgdx? I've heard about it. I don't know hardly anything about it, so I don't have an opinion on it. And I haven't tried it. How good is Pygame for making a desktop app in comparison to PyQt? I have not used. I think I have used it, but I've used it. I don't even know if I'm saying it. PyQt. I've used it like maybe once, so I don't really have an opinion on it because I haven't used it enough. But I wouldn't say you make like a desktop application that's not like a graphical project. I don't know how to describe it. Like, so things like games or something that has some sort of graphical element rather than just like a user interface, more akin to a website. So I think there's like certain types of projects you use Pygame for, and certain types you wouldn't. But for generic desktop apps that are not games, I would say for the most part you use something like TK or PyQt. Do you think that Stack Overflow is often in toxic community? You've seen quite a bit of this recently. So, I've had some bad experiences with Stack Overflow, but I don't don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about it, because I think there's like the way that they mark things as duplicates and stuff. Like when you're like looking things up and you're trying to get information about a topic, and something comes up, and for whatever reason is marked as a duplicate for something else. A lot of times I do click through that duplicate link, and then I do get better information going through that. So like just the way that questions are managed and stuff. Like I mean, I think there's like a toxic element with like the tone people respond stuff in, but I haven't seen it too often. So I don't think it's quite as big of an issue as people make it out to be, although it is an issue. But yeah, in general, I feel like a lot of the questions that could be asked have been asked. And I'm in a weird spot with Stack Overflow where if I can't find an answer by searching for something, I'm probably not gonna find an answer like if I ask about it on Stack Overflow myself, because usually people just don't know. Like no one's gonna see my question that knows, or the question would be too specific to some sort of project I'm working on. So from a question asking perspective, I don't personally have much of a use for Stack Overflow. I just use it to find answers, like to stuff that has already been asked before. Of course, it's always going to be new stuff to ask, though, with as new technologies come out and stuff like that. But for the technologies I end up using, usually everything's already been asked. Did I play an instrument? If not, is there any like one? I played piano for like what, 8 years or something. I forgot. Oh, like I mean, I can still read sheet music, but like the muscle memory's not there anymore. And I forgot music theory, so I've been relearning that. But piano, like instrument-wise, is my preference. Number 2 would be the guitar. I haven't learned it. I would like to learn it. But yeah, number 1 would be probably for me would be to relearn the muscle memory for piano. So I mean, like, I conceptually know how to do it. Yeah. Have I used JavaScript? Yes. I make a bunch of websites. Alright. What font am I using for the cards? I made it myself. And if you go to my website and go to the blog post and go far enough back, you can download it yourself. And I believe I put it on the public domain, so you can use it for whatever you want. You heard the guys from Gaming, War Thunder, etc. are using automated tests for their project. What does it look like? You mean test process, and can I recommend some modules for testing? So I've looked into like some testing modules for Python just because of work, because I was, as I mentioned before, some of the stuff I was working on was safety systems for things that could be used for weapons technically. So I have looked into it a bit. I didn't like. I personally didn't end up writing that much test code. I was more doing the development for the actual software. So it kind of got passed on to other people. So I haven't done enough research into that stuff myself to have an opinion on it. There are a variety of libraries you can use to test stuff made with Python, though. Yeah. There's also other stuff you can do. Like, so with Python, you can do enforced typing with type hinting and stuff. So there's stuff like that. But I don't have any specific recommendations. I think there's one called PyUnit or something, but that's not a recommendation. It's just something I've heard. You've watched episode 4 in my tutorial series. That's like what, 2 hours of videos? Am I going to play the game or just answer questions? The intent was to play the game, but I wasn't expecting to get this many people watching. I didn't think I would be talking the whole time. Like, well, I mean, I didn't think I'd be answering questions the whole time. I'm almost caught up. And also the viewership's easing off because I'm getting too far away from the prime time, because the prime time was like, what, 8 hours ago? And so it's like easing off into the lowest hours for my viewership because there's too many people in like India. They're going to sleep. So when all the people from India go to sleep, that's when I play, I guess. Which is probably about now. As you saw earlier, well, you may have not seen, I guess, but earlier in the chat there were people saying that it was like 2 a.m. so they're going to sleep. Yeah. Ever tried Rilla before? Because if you're too easy to handle the OpenGL by yourself, you can get really good performance out of it. Oh, no, wait. Can you? Wait. There's a question mark, but that's not phrased like a question. I'm assuming you're asking if you can get good performance out of it. I tried Raylan. I think they fixed... So I tried it a while ago, like I think over a year ago for the first time. And there was some sort of issue with batch rendering where the performance was questionable, and I could get better performance in Pygame. I think for some resolutions, Pygame still does outperform Raylib, like for some resolutions of images and batch rendering, but I think for most applications, Raylib will outperform Pygame. But I was looking into it. Looks pretty good. There's a lot more overhead because I mean it's kind of how it is working with something that's built on top of OpenGL, or yeah, because it's meant to interface with the GPU. So I at the moment I'm not particularly interested in it unless I have a project where I need that performance. So yeah, I was just looking at it again recently. I was looking at a decent amount of the functionality, just kind of scoping it out and seeing what they have. For example, rotating an image is a pain. If you want to rotate an image in anything other than 90-degree increments, it's not fun. In Pygame, it's one function. In that, well, I guess it's kind of one function. No, it depends on how you look at it. But it's a pain. So, but it has its use cases, I would say. It's not my preference at the moment. That's my opinion of it, I guess. But yeah, performance-wise, it's very useful for some things. I'd say most things it's got better performance than Pygame. You say you found out that the college you're going to study at created the Lua language. Huh, that's interesting. Do you think it's a good programming language? I don't like Lua personally. I don't know enough about the theory behind programming languages to make a statement as to whether a language is good or bad. I will say I don't like that Lua starts their arrays with the index of 1 as opposed to 0, and that drives me insane. So there's a bunch of stuff I don't like about Lua, but it's mostly personal stuff. I think you can argue that the array thing is more objective, but most of the stuff is personal that I don't like with it. So I just don't use it. Tips for learning C. Wait, C# with any, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't know C#, so I don't. Well, I've used C#, but I wouldn't say I know it that well, so I wouldn't give tips on that. All right. This Indian is awake. All right. Well, you might be up late enough to see me actually play the game instead of talking. Can Pygame use the GPU? Technically, yes. I had an argument with the developers over this. They thought the answer was no. Well, okay, like the main way people use Pygame, they thought the answer was no. You can technically use it with some experimental features, but in the way using the software rendering, it's not originally intended to work with the GPU, it turns out it does end up using the GPU. I don't know in what way, and I was having an argument with the developers of Pygame over this about this, because they didn't think it would, and but it does if you open up Task Manager. I can actually probably do this right now. Task Manager. You can't see this. I can open up Task Manager. I can look at the game that's running right now and see. Let's see. Actually, no. So this one's not using the GPU. I think that's actually because it's in Pygame 1.9.x. But in Pygame 2, even the stuff that's not supposed to use the GPU does use the GPU for some reason, a little bit, just a tiny bit. But Pygame 2 does run like twice as fast as Pygame 1.9.x. So, but yeah, to answer the original question though, yeah, you can use the GPU, and you can like intentionally use it as well, like for most of the stuff. It's just experimental, and there's not really documentation. So that's like a feature that's coming. I don't know what TDD is. Oh, for the rotation thing, I was talking about Raylib, not Pygame. I was saying Pygame's easy, Raylib's a pain to do rotation with. Beginner programmer in your games, do you use a lot of multi-threading? No, I don't. I mentioned this like 40 minutes ago. If you're messing with multi-threading and trying to get more performance out of using that, you've lost the main purpose of using Pygame, in my opinion, which is that you can make things quickly and easily. Like my games don't use it. You can make, like, pixel art wise, you can make lots of cool stuff without using multi-threading. Do you do any collaborative projects, or do you mainly work solo? Do you think there are advantages to working in a team? So I would say for most people, yeah, there's great advantage to working in a team. Personally, I like the creative control of working by myself. I don't want to work in a team. Like, I just don't like working with people at all. I prefer doing everything myself. Lua is a Brazilian programming language. Is it really? I was not aware of that. I use Python to make games just because I can code faster with it. You prefer tech chat rather than gameplay? I think most people do. I think, like, viewership wise, I can tell that that's what people prefer. Fluffy probably won't play the game by the time my dad is back with them. It's funny, people normally don't make jokes in my chat. People are normally just talking about stuff. Like, I feel like I have a much harder time with chat than most streamers, just because the types of things people in this chat talk about. Like, most streamers, it's just kind of like random comments or making jokes or just like single words and stuff, reacting stuff. Whereas I'll get like entire paragraphs in here that I have to read. I'm not branching out from Pygame for 2D stuff at the moment. I'm considering it for 3D, where I would use Godot for VR. PySDL2 I don't think is maintained anymore. You might as well just use Pygame 2, because Pygame 2 is meant to work with, well, it works with SDL2. The full functionality is in development, so it's just kind of the more supported library for SDL2 with Python. Yeah. When I'm doing Vagrant development stream, probably not for a bit. I don't like doing a purely artwork stream, and there's a lot of artwork I'm doing right now for like the new area, and then I'm gonna be doing the boss soon. So maybe when I'm coding the boss, I might stream that, but it just kind of depends on my schedule and if I feel like it. So like a lot of the stuff I'd rather not stream, but if coincidentally it's something that works well with the stream and it's something and I'm in a mood for streaming, I might stream it. All right. It's possible to program shaders for Pygame. Technically, yes. But what you're doing at that point is you're using OpenGL in a Pygame context. So you're mostly working with OpenGL stuff at that point, rather than using like Pygame surfaces and everything. And at that point, you might. Well, I mean, there's reason to do that, but you're mostly using OpenGL at that point. I would say it's mostly not Pygame anymore. But yeah, it's doable. There are examples of doing it as well. I think you can probably find some on the Pygame website under the projects. Oh wait, no, you can't find it on the Pygame website right now because it's been taken down. But give it a couple months, maybe it'll be back up soon. I'm 2 messages away from being caught up here, guys. What do you think about making a full game with OpenGL directly? I think I answered this like 40 minutes ago. For the most part, don't. I think for 2D there are better options than just pure OpenGL. And then for 3D, you might as well use a game engine. Now, if you enjoy working on that level, sure, you can do OpenGL, and that can be fun. I know people that do that, but I think from like making, like practically speaking, of course, as I have experience with, it can be beneficial to work on a low level with 2D stuff for making games quickly if you make your own framework. But that's less feasible on a 3D level. Of course, companies do make their own game, like in-house engines and stuff, but you're not likely to do that by yourself. Whereas it's with 2D, it's a more of a reasonable scope to do your own in-house stuff, which is essentially what I'm doing. But yeah, directly working with OpenGL, I wouldn't recommend for game development unless you're interested in it specifically. But it does have its use cases. Any idea how you can make a Blender like Node Graph UI using Python? I have not used Blender, so I have no idea. Wait, no, Node Graph is it like the whole tree thing? I think actually I might know what you're talking about because I think Godot might have something like this. So it's like a tree of elements, right? Yeah, that would pretty much be a whole tutorial to explain. I mean, it would be built upon simple concepts, but I'm not gonna sit here for like 30 minutes and explain how you would do that, so. All right, what do you think the most important part of making games is? The marketing or the programming? I think you have to have a good mix of both. You can't just have marketing and you can't just have programming. I think the programming is the more fundamental part. I mean, obviously if you don't have a game, there's nothing to market. Unless you're doing some kind of scam. But a game without marketing doesn't get much either. So I think you need a good mix of both of them, and that's like almost infinitely better than being really good at just one or the other. Oh wait, oh yeah, I see. Is my framework open source only for patrons? At the moment, it's technically only for patrons. It's not like a cohesive framework, it's just more like a bunch of scripts laying around. Alright. Quite a few YouTubers are doing collabs where they do game making competitions and other things. Would you be interested in this type of content? I do game jams, and I've done game jams since like what, 2015 or 2016 or something. I've done like over 20 of them. And I have like time lapses and live streams and stuff of doing game jams. I don't do collaborative stuff with game jams though. And as I mentioned before, I don't like collaborating with people. Well, I don't like working on projects with people. I think like for YouTube content, I might be willing to collab, but like working on a game with someone is not something I'm particularly interested in. Anyways, it appears I've caught up with the comments, guys. Wow, it only took an hour and 54 minutes. So it is time to play the game. And just immediately get smacked around. Cool. So I just have to sit down here until the timer runs out because this level's almost complete. Do I have a heal? Yeah. I can just stand here now and hope I don't get knocked away. Oh, I think I do need more of these in my deck. How many do I have? I have 1, 2. I think I do need 3. I think 3 to... yeah. So what do I want to get rid of here? That is the question. I think range empowerment, honestly. Or no, bomber. Bomber. Definitely. Alright. That is back in. Okay. What is the most interesting niche internet community you know of? I mean, like, I can't think of like niche communities that are like super interesting, but I'm in some niche-ish communities. So the niche communities I'm in are like the competitive Pavlov community and the competitive Beat Saber community. And I personally enjoy those, but that's not like interesting for everyone. So it's not just like something randomly interesting. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. I have improved my deck, so I've made some progress. Well, I got an energy thing, which means I can. I just gotta wait till 11, and then I can do the funny. It's funny. There's actually a bug in how the energy works in this game, or like the energy growth. I found like I think a few different bugs in this game since I've released it that I just haven't bothered to fix. None of them are like completely game breaking. I think actually no. I think there's one bug that just makes a certain card useless or something, but for the most part the game works fine. For the most part. Okay, so I have 2 increased max healths here. I think I'll wait and try to use them. I don't think there's like I'm not being threatened much, so I can just kind of sit here and just wait. So I have like 45 seconds. I can actually read chat while I'm sitting here waiting for the clock to run down. Do you have programmer/game dev friends? Do you talk about your work with friends? The funny answer there is mostly no. I would say it's mostly acquaintances, or like on that level where I just kind of know some people. Yeah, I would say I have like one game developer friend, and it's not someone I talk to a whole lot. And then, like programming wise, yeah, like programming wise, I would say that I've got one friend, aside from the one that does game development, and then there's my brother, who's the one who talks to the most about programming. So I can go to the exit now as long as I just don't randomly die. Alright. Burst, that's a useless card, kind of. Well, it depends how you're building, but for my deck it's useless. For other decks, if you want to go for a passive deck, it can be useful. But have I contributed to Pygame? I wanted to. I haven't had the time for it, so no, I haven't. But I am credited in some of the Pygame releases for making content related to Pygame. Where can you get the image? Web image. Is your game almost 100% CPU rendering? This one specifically is 100% CPU rendering, because it's Pygame 1.9. My newer stuff is not 100%, but like the code is the exact same. It runs in both versions pretty much, except for some stuff like some of my stuff in 2 isn't quite backwards compatible, but you can take like this game and put it in Pygame 2 and it will run faster. And it'll automatically put in some non-CPU rendering, but for the most part it's CPU rendering, yeah. Ooh, defense drone. Yes, I really need that. What do I want to replace this with? I'll get rid of range empowerment. So I need to increase my max health. I also guess I need to increase my energy. Until I'm like being threatened, I don't want to use my other cards. So I just want to improve my stats for as long as I can, as long as I'm not being threatened. So one more here and I can use my increased max energy. Okay, I can use that, and then I'd like to use this thing to increase max health. Wait, I didn't see that. Okay, something. Okay. Okay, I might have to use a heal at this rate. Just keep getting hit. I didn't think through the colors completely here, because like for example, the character blends in with the background in this area. Although to be fair, there's like 2 more areas, so in the other areas it works out better, but this area specifically, the colors are questionable. Not only that, but like this is just a sloppy area in general, because the music is worse for this area than any of the other ones, in my opinion. The other 2 areas have way better music. It's funny though, because and I think this is the second area I made. I think the first one I did was the main like green looking one, and then this one's the second, and then the third one's the one with all the mushrooms, kind of bluish and pink. Do you ever use computer shaders when working with the OpenGL? No. I haven't worked with OpenGL that much. I barely looked into it. How long have I been programming? 8.5 years. Okay, where's the exit? I forgot where the exit is on this one. It's like down here somewhere. Yeah. I don't think I need another increased max health. I need like more types of drones. A specific kind of, I think I need. So if I can get to like 15 energy, that's pretty good. Oh, there's one of those. I'm not gonna call it a fire flower because that's confusing, but it's a flower that spews like orbs that will set you on fire. Not at all based on fire flowers. That's like actually entirely a coincidence unless it was subconscious. But yeah, those things are annoying. There's cards for dealing with them. There's a douse card that'll remove fire and prevent you from catching on fire, but I don't have it in this deck. So yeah, if I can get to 15 energy, that's good. Because you start, I think, with half of the energy when you begin an area. So if every 2 upgrades you get, you start with 1 more energy when you get to a new area. So actually I would want to get to 16, not 15. So if I can just sit here and get another upgrade, that's good. It's funny because the deck I'm playing right now is kind of boring at the beginning. Not much happens. I just stay safe and play these cards that give me permanent buffs. Did I put Easter eggs in my games? I think rarely I do, but yeah, it does happen sometimes. Make an outline for the player, make an outline for the player when it blends too much with the background. I mean, that would have worked. I think visually would have been, like stylistically, it would have been questionable to have an outline in this game. I think like just art-wise, I think there was some problems that were deeper than just like top-level colors. Like, I think just the overall color direction had some issues. But yeah, my newer projects I don't think is as much of an issue. I don't want to know bombing drone. The bombing drones are questionable. I think I like the defense ones more. Do I have game consoles? The only consoles I have are Nintendo. So my first console was a DS, and then I got a Wii, or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember if I got the DS or the Wii first. And that's all I had until 2 years ago. I got a Switch. So like my entire childhood pretty much was like on a DS. So I was like playing a DS in like, what was it, 2020? Well, I wasn't playing it that often, but I had it, and that was the newest console I had. But yeah, I've got a Switch now, so just that. So I can play the increased max health. Is anyone else getting audio? I'm assuming everyone else is getting audio. Oh, hi, Shake. I don't read the names half the time, so sometimes people come in that I recognize and I don't even notice. But yeah, I'm assuming everyone else is getting audio because they're asking questions and responding to things I'm saying. At least from my end, it looks like I got audio. And if you can hear me talking about it, obviously you got audio, so whatever. Nothing I say changes that. Alright. When did I start programming? 2013, so I was 12. I don't want defense draw. Okay. Okay, I think I'm almost to the point where I'm actually going to have to focus on not dying and use some of my other cards. I want one more energy upgrade to get a total of 16. The concern if I put too many of these in my deck is that it starts clogging up my deck later when I don't want to play them. And I'll get like 3 of these in my hand, and I'll only have like realistically like 2 or 3 cards that I can actually play that I want to play. Man. Yeah, this is gonna start to get dangerous here. This is probably the last one I can easily, like the last upgrade I can easily get. Okay, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. This is also not a great map to be trying to grind upgrades on. Oh, I caught on fire. It's gonna be bad soon. I'm like getting low here. Do I have a heal? I do have a heal. I also have a revive, so things, and a regen, so I should be fine theoretically. I'll turn on the shield at 30 seconds, so 10 more seconds, and I'll turn on the shield and I'll have the rest of the area, or the level or whatever. I don't know. I had a term for these things. I don't know what it is anymore. So I can turn that on, and then I've got tons of extra health effectively until the end. Shields are temporary, but it's long enough that it'll last. Okay, unless it just gets pushed through. Well, it gets damaged through. I don't know what proper way to say that is. Deleted from too much damage. Lose it, whatever. I'll turn on regen, and then that should be good enough to get me through. Yeah, I'm losing my shield. Oh, I still got it, barely. Maybe it'll survive. Oh, I said the very end there. Favorite DS game? Pokemon Platinum. Yeah, that's my favorite DS game. I played through it like 3 times. Maybe some parallax effects in the background. So I'm not working on this game anymore, so I'm not changing anything at this point. The background was kind of an afterthought. So, I mean, this game was made in like 100 hours. There's a lot of improvements that could be made. How to get my ideas from my games? Most the games that I've released, like the paid ones, are derived from stuff from in-game jams. And all the game jams are based on the themes I get, so I don't even have to think about stuff too much. So I would say just enter game jams if you want ideas, because you'll get a theme and you have to fit that. Any advantages to streaming on YouTube rather than Twitch? So I do it because my audience is already here. Yeah, people already get the notifications and stuff when I stream. And not only that, but it brings new people to my channel. Like, people will come in and subscribe watching my streams because they'll get recommended to new people, whereas that wouldn't happen on Twitch. So, yeah. I think Twitch is better for making money, but I think viewership-wise, it's probably not as good of an option for me. Ever done 2 jams at once? I think so, yes, technically. I think it was like one after the other. They technically overlapped, but I would only work on one game at a time. I only did that once though. I don't do Pi Week. I had the community there is very questionable. I would say it's probably the most toxic game jam community I've ever seen. There's a lot of problems with it. I don't know if they fixed it, but it's just a bad experience. Yeah. There's like a lot of people, like, since the comments are anonymous and you don't see them to the end, people like leave insults as the comments, and not only that, but there are people that are rigging it by giving. You can see that there's a bunch of people that go around and leave like 1-star ratings on everyone's games because it's small enough where that'll impact the results. And like the people that win are the people like the one I was in. I'm pretty sure we determined that the person who won. Well, first of all, they were going around giving horrible ratings to everyone else, And then also they won because of that. So not only are the people participating being toxic in their comments and stuff, but like the ratings you get are kind of bogus because there's people going around trying to game the system so they can win. What project am I most proud of? At the moment, I would say Gloomstream, which is my last game jam game. How many lines of code do my games usually have? I think it's about like maybe 1,200 is probably around the median. All right. I could probably get this off at just 12. So yeah, I think I didn't check. I think I should have started with 8 energy as opposed to 5, which is a pretty good head start, especially if I want to play these things, because then I only have to wait 4 as opposed to what would it be, 7. So like I have to wait almost half the time to be able to play that, which is very beneficial. So I can start stacking those types of buffs. You start to get diminishing returns with the energy cards though, just because it costs so much for every single improvement. It just keeps going up and up. Ah, missed. And by missed, I mean I hit the mushroom and I went flying. I'll go look for cards first, and then I'll play this draw 2. I need to switch the draw 2s for redraws. The draw 2s aren't ideal. Okay, projectile conversion is probably another card I can get rid of. I'll look and see if there's maybe one more card on the left here, and then I'll... Yeah, I suspected that was there. Oh, I might be able to play that. I'll wait and see. I'm like... I think I should be fine health-wise. I don't know how this timing's gonna work. I think I might have to wait like a couple seconds to be able to play it. And then I'll have 17. If I get 17, I might as well go for 18 at some point if it gets a chance. So that I can start with 9 energy. So yeah, I can play this. I just hit it just in time, and I can go down here. I've not used a single drone yet. Forward firing, this is an interesting card that I do not want to use. It's like actually bad, I think. I think there's like no reason to not use burst instead. I think the rate of fire was like really bad or something. So I think because the zone this is, I don't want to try and use this. Like the map and the zone combination is a bit too dangerous to try to use the increased max energy here. I might be able to get away with this card though. I don't know. I'll wait and see. Maybe if I don't take any or too much damage here, I'll try and use it. I'll see how long I can get. Actually, I'm gonna reach that real quick. How do you make enemies interesting? I wouldn't call myself an expert on that, so I don't know. I focus more on the abilities than the animations, so I think they're mechanically interesting, which is my goal, rather than visually interesting. Is this game finishable? Yes. There is an infinite mode if you beat the game, but I have not beat the game yet. Okay, maybe I'll be able to use that energy thingy. Oh no, maybe not. That's the problem. Maybe I can find a heal. Or I can use the regen. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use this regen. I don't think there's anything up here, so I can just stay here. I'm not gonna... It's like too much stuff here. I'm not using the drones right yet, so oh boy, not that. The other thing about this area is there's so much red, it's hard to see some of these projectiles. Although maybe I'll be able to. This is... Oh my goodness. I don't like that spot. That's dangerous. Okay, so I hit that. I'm gonna take the risk just because I'm so early in the run. Like, time-wise, I'm not early in the run, but it's because I've been taking breaks and stuff. But, like, I'm not even to 10 levels down. I need to get to 30, so I'm taking that risk. Oh, I forgot there's that bug. It doesn't use the manual it says. It only actually uses, like, 11 or 10 or something. So I do have extra mana. It's just you need that much to use it. It's a weird bug. That's one of the few bugs I found in this game. So I'm gonna go down here. It's probably dangerous. Yeah, there's dangerous stuff down here, but it should be fine. So I can actually just play like the heal and the where's this? This will last me until the end. No, I should be pretty much invincible. And I go down here. I don't know if I want an attack drone. Let me see how many I've got. Anti-hazard and defense are typically stronger. Maybe I'll get rid of the projectile conversion. I think that's what I'll do. It does more damage, but its range is shorter. Wait, no, maybe no, I think the range was longer, and it does more damage, but it fires slower. That's what it was. So it's worse for keeping things away from you. I don't want this card. Okay, this is a fun curse. That means that more enemies spawn. Alright. How do I make enemy AI? Do they just use a state machine? Okay, so I think technically these are state machines. State machines are not something I've studied. I think I just have an intuitive sense, and I don't like group the design patterns I use into categories. So I don't have great knowledge of the terms for that type of thing. But I think technically, yeah, it uses a state machine, maybe. It's mostly just a bunch of timers and then like subtype switching animations and stuff like that, which I think technically requires the state machine. But yeah. I'm gonna use the restroom really quick again. It's been like 2 hours, 16 minutes. Alright, I'm back and I'm having the latency problem with my avatar again. So I gotta reboot it. I need to fix that issue. I don't know if that's gonna work. Did it just crash it? Oopsie. That's gonna be a problem. Yeah, give me a moment. I'm fixing stuff. I put a backslash accidentally in the command to start my face tracking, and it just kind of died, and now it won't let me stop it. Hold on. Just gonna open up another command prompt. Okay, that should work. And now I have to go to Task Manager because the other one didn't die properly, and I had to kill a Python application. And the problem here is that it's a Python application, it doesn't say anything else, so I have to try not to kill the game. This is a dangerous game here. Or so I'm looking for Python. Do I do the... There's two of them that could be here. I'm gonna try this one. I'm hoping I don't accidentally kill the game. Okay. I don't think I did. It should fix it. Now the other one's frozen. Come on. Where is it? So I think it's yeah, I gotta kill this. Ooh, this is dangerous. Yeah, there we go. So start that and start that. Do we get it? There we go. All right, Avatar's back. Woohoo. How do you finish the game? I have to go down 30 floors. So if you look on the left under the thing that shows me how much energy I have, there's that like meter looking thing that shows me like 1/3 of the way down. So that's showing me at, I think, like 9 or 10 levels down. I have to go down to 30, which is the bottom of that meter. So once I reach the bottom on that thingy, I win. And I haven't yet. That's the thing. Can you share some more info about the work on rocket technologies? I mentioned this before, but I don't want to go too in depth for 2 reasons. 1, because I don't want to dox myself, and 2, because there's like laws preventing me from going too in depth. Have I ever tried to drink and then make games? If you're talking about like alcohol, I'm technically underage for that because I'm only 20. Oh, I know that varies by country though. So yeah, in the US you gotta be 21, or you should be 21. Most people do drink before then though, so. But I'm not interested in that anyway, so. I can almost use the increase max health, and I probably will. Yeah. Oop. I'm turning into more and more of a tank, like every level here. Oh, that's not good. But not too much damage because I increased my max health. Cool. And I do have a heal here, which seems convenient. I'm not going to use this. I think 18 is enough energy. Like, I've got a really good start already. Like, there's serious potential for me to actually beat the game on this run. So, woohoo. I'm going to use the heal in a bit here. I'm actually going to turn on the defense drone. Wait. Was the defense drone always 7? Oh, I'm thinking of anti-hazard. Anti-hazard's a really good one. Defense drone's alright. But, anti-hazard's where it's at. That one only costs 4 energy. But this one's 7. So, I'll probably turn it on in a bit here. So, when I actually reach 7, that'll last till the end because there's 40 seconds left and this is a 40-second card. Yeah. Alright. Just missing so much. I can't remember. I think the shots might go slower than the attack drone, which makes it miss a lot if they're not very close. But like the range itself that it'll actually fire at is a lot lower. Wow, I'm taking so much damage. That's concerning. This might be the very first thing I kill on this run. So those of you that have only been watching this run probably don't know that you get more energy when you kill things. Just that I haven't been using it because I haven't been killing things on this run. Anything can use? No, nothing to use. I'm tempted to add this heal. I think the regen's better though, so I'm gonna ignore that for now. Oh, I missed it. I'm gonna have to go up and around to grab that. Can I like? Oh, it's dropping so much. Dude. Oh, I've got 2 dens up here as my curses. That's dangerous. And there's 2 cards here. Cool. Oh, I finally got an anti-hazard. Yes, that is the good card. I'm gonna wait until 1 minute if I can, and then I'll use it, and that's fun. Alright. That's a revive, that's good. Oh, look how hard I got hit by that. I don't have... There's a curse called Punch, I think, that makes you get hit harder by things and fly further. But I don't have that one. I think I just got hit by 2 of them back to back, and it just, like, knocked me back a lot. Okay, so Anti-Hazard I don't think does anything about the... Yeah, it doesn't do anything about these bouncing shrooms that are gonna knock me around, but it will stop that thing from setting me on fire, the wisp thingy. And while I'm at it, I can do a little bit of funnies. Let's turn that on, and let's turn on this. And can I just double it up? And oh yeah, this is fun. You stack them up and they... Yeah, it's funny. Alright, I can go looking for cards now. The drone overclock's really OP if you have a bunch of drones. The drones don't scale, so like in an infinite run, you probably don't want to rely on them, but for actually beating the game for the first time, they're pretty solid. I'll turn on the defense group drone, sure. And then I might want to turn on a revive just so I can guarantee that I beat this level. Or, yeah. I'll turn on revive. You could just see all the effects stacking up on the right. I have 7 effects active. 6 stacks of increased max health. I have 2 anti-hazard drones, I think. Or no, I think one of those might be a defense drone. Yeah, I think one of those is a defense drone. So I can exit now. Explode. This is a fun card, and I actually have enough energy to use it. But it's technically the most powerful card in the game, but the energy cost is so high that it's not worth it. It actually might make you invincible for a while, I can't remember. But it just shoots out so many projectiles, like hundreds, I think, or over 100. It'll like knock everything away from you and do a decent amount of damage. I don't think, like, it does a decent amount. I don't think it's worth. I think there's better ways to do damage, maybe probably drones. but it as a single card, this is probably the most powerful though. It just doesn't play well with other cards. Can you play this on a controller? Technically, yes. I'm not playing on a controller right now. How do you finish the game? I mentioned that before. You just go to the bottom, which is floor 30, and I'm like a third there. How do you handle objects like enemies and text in your level editor? You can watch my Vagrant streams. I think I implemented that on stream. I think I just have like categories of things that I consider entities, and they get assigned an ID, and then I can write in some configuration files some like custom data associated with that entity ID. So for example, I could put like a quote-unquote spawner tile. There's like a game object for spawning enemies. It generates an ID for that, and then in a configure file I can copy out that ID and then write some rules for like what entity is spawning and like its conditions and stuff like that. And there's other stuff like that too. And like, well, so like NPC dialogue, which is sort of like the text you're talking about, I'm assuming. It's similar. So I place an NPC in the level editor, I get an entity ID, I fill out a config file with the entity ID, and write down all the text I wanted to say. So I can change a lot of the stuff without even opening up the level editor. What do you think of haters of Python and Python or Python? I haven't seen that many. I think most of the people, I mean, there are legitimate reasons to not like them, but most of the people that complain about like Python are are people that just really like working at a lower level. Do you remember working on Not Quite Paradise 2? You're about to be working on it and was shocked to see your name pop up. Wait. Hold up. Was that the name he used? Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure how much I can say about that. That was a freelance project. Yeah, you can send me a DM on Discord if you want. Yeah, if you want to ask about that project, you can send me a DM on Discord. Even though that's normally against the rules, I can answer that. I don't think I should be talking about that publicly here. I don't know. Hello, Raiden. I'm surprised that people actually watch the Vagrant live streams. Like, I keep hearing about people that go back and watch through them. Like, I don't know, I find it hard to imagine doing that myself. Like, just watching through a development live stream. Like, especially if it's not live. I don't know. I find it interesting that people actually do that. Do I use GitHub? Yes. Just not for Game Jam games. It's not just people that like working on a lower level. I mean, there's legitimate complaints you can have aside from preferences. But a lot of them are. A lot of people that complain about popular technologies are complaining about it for like preference reasons. It's less common to see people complain that have like a complaint that's not primarily preference. If you notice, I don't think I complain about like technologies that much. Well, when I do, I normally explain it as a preference thing, I think. I could use a defense drone almost. And then I have 7 stacks of the health. These wisps are I need to get away from that. Oh, okay, that's bad. That is really bad. I have the revive. I'm gonna try and survive and then use the revive at 50 seconds. So this is not cool. Those fire things are really annoying. So 6 more seconds if I can. Oh, I almost got hit by that. All right, so I can use this now. So that'll last me till the end. Then I can use the shield, and then I should be good for a while. This is I'm gonna lose the shield to this fire. There's only 1 card down here. Come on. I might need that revive in a moment here. The revive makes me nervous. I know there's not bugs with it, or at least not that I've seen, but I always feel like it might not work, and I might end up dying or something. So there's the regen. Do I have an anti-hazard? I don't. I have defense. I have 2 defenses and 2 attacks. I need more anti-hazards. Those are the strong ones. Oh, that 1 crystal is just like ruining this map for me, just because I can't safely run past it. I guess I can wait and listen for the timings on it, but anti-hazard, let's go. I got it a bit late though. Like, anti-hazard's amazing for dealing with these wisp things because it can destroy all those projectiles. Bye bye. All right. What do you think about using Linux for programming? I think it's preferable. I I just don't because I have everything set up on Windows and I can't live stream on Linux. One of the plugins I use when live streaming doesn't have it doesn't work on Linux, so I can't do my live streams. I would have to find some different technology. So since I do my live streaming on Windows, and I also do my video editing on Windows, it's just more convenient to have everything on Windows. Because I'll record footage of my games in I'll record footage of my games for making videos, and I'll work on my games when doing live streams, so it's convenient to have it already here. I know you can mount the same drive between both, but then there are some other problems as well, so it's just easier to have most of my stuff on Windows. I do some stuff on Linux though. Yeah. I haven't played Diablo, so I can't say if it's easy or not. Okay, I'm almost halfway. I am on fire. That's not ideal. I'll probably use it. I'll see if I can get through and use the increased max health, and then I'll probably heal. I also have the cards that damage me to collect, and they also slow me down. Not fun. Spike cards is probably the second worst curse to get. So I healed, and then I'll probably use the regen soon. Boop, boop. I'm just gonna dance around this mushroom here until I can get something good. Oh, a revive, that's good. I'll probably play that at 50 seconds. Always useful. If I can wait until like 45, that's even better, because technically you're still alive a little bit after it ends while you're just dropping down the gates or whatever, and you don't want to get killed then. So like ideally I wait until like 45 and then I play like right now, and then I should be good until the end unless I get seriously bounced around and I can't exit. So now I just sit here, and I can read chat while I'm dancing around this because I can see this in my peripheral vision, sort of. I can mess it up like that, but do I use Git? If so, what do you do for remote repos? GitHub is technically a remote repo, so I mean, yeah, that's what I do, I guess. But I mean, technically I use Git with GitHub as my remote repo. That's the correct answer, but yeah. Ever thought of making a game of C++ as a challenge? I don't really do things for the challenge, typically. I do things because it's an interesting project, so not really. Never heard of Eggpunk. Or no, I think I've heard of it, I haven't looked into it. I don't know what it is. How do you go about balancing the game? For this it was guessing and playtesting. It's kind of unbalanced. There's like maybe 4 or 5 different types of decks you can use. There's some serious balance issues with this game, but I think for the most part it still works because there's a decent amount of cards that are balanced well enough. There's nothing like, it's mostly cards that are kind of useless. That's what I erred on the side of. There's a bunch of cards that aren't particularly useful, rather than like a couple cards that are stupid broken. I think like the only card I can think of that's like really overpowered is the anti-hazard drone, which is what I'm building my whole deck around. I don't want to go down into the pit on the right, but then there's so many enemies over here on the left. Neither are options great here. I guess I'll use the shield in a moment here, even though it's so early on. Yeah, that's probably the correct choice. I need more. I see, like, I'm like 2 anti-hazard drones away from being able to beat this game. I've almost got my deck to this point. There goes my shield. Cool. I have a super shield. That's not ideal to use. I could use defense invincibility until I can use the revive, I guess. So use this for 30 seconds, and I use this for 50 seconds. That's a minute 20. which gets me to the end. So I can just do that. I think defense invincibility works well against fire, if I remember correctly. So I'm gonna go down here. There should be cards down here. Yeah. I got a drone overclock. That's useless if I don't have any drones, which is... So this is why defense invincibility is good. That fire doesn't do much when I'm like invincible after taking damage. But yeah, you can see I'm not like taking much here. There, defense drone, cool. So I'm gonna play the defense drone in the revive, right? Does that add up? That's 13. Yes, I can do that. So I'll try to get out of this pit, and then I'll play my revive so that I know that I'm not gonna just die. Hopefully. I wouldn't say I know, but I probably won't. I can use a shield. I'll take it. That'll last me until the end. Well, unless it gets depleted. So I just kind of sit here now for like 20 seconds, and hopefully all this stuff dies, and I can... You can probably hear that car in the background. That's what happens when you live in an apartment complex with like thousands of people. Alright, okay. Time to exit. I don't want another drone overclock. I've already got like 2 of them or something. Alright. Oh, hey look, that bot finally came here. Normally it takes a bit longer. No, I've been reporting every single one. And I've been starting to see less of them. I banned them from my channel when I report them. I think I've been starting to see less of them that way. Because I'm guessing some of them were coming back and they were technically the same account or something. Did I finish my web dev series? No. Oh, I'm surprised you got a job with that. Interesting. Alright, pancakes or waffles? I like pancakes, I think. I feel like waffles are more involved to eat than pancakes. Like, waffles you kind of have to use a knife, and then pancakes you can just eat with a fork. But like, if they're really good waffles, I kind of like waffles. I use Pygame because I can work faster than it. I'm 20. Okay. I shouldn't have used the draw too. That was a dumb move. I should have grabbed some cards first. Oh, why? Oh, is that thing over there? I have a good hand. I'm wondering, I should probably get rid of the Bloodthirst. I don't think I should be counting on that. It's kind of an inconsistent card. I think I would rather just have a heal or a regen. It's low energy cost though. Like, it combos well, but combos are unreliable, and I think this whole game is about having a reliable deck. So anti-hazards, shields, heals, revives, defense invincibility is also pretty good. So I'm actually gonna play this, and then I'm gonna go looking for cards down here. I can actually also probably play the Bloodthirst just to get out of my hand. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. And then since I have the defense invincibility, I can play the increased max health. And then that should last me until I can play the heal. Oh, the slowdown from the card. Oh, that's a dangerous spot to be in. Hope I can get out of this without getting bumped too hard. The defense is I can't speak. The defense invincibility is saving my life right here. I would have gotten hit so many times there if it weren't for it. Run. This side shouldn't have anything on it. I like how that thing just drops out of the sky on you. Alright. So the shield will last... Oh no, it's not 40 seconds, it's 30. Oh, that's not a good spot to be in. Let's get out of there. Alright, so now the shield will last till the end. And then... my defense invincibility is gone. So I don't have much left to work with. I can heal. And then I will be able to draw too soon. So I'm gonna do one more loop to the right here. And then go up, and then hopefully I'll be able to go down and finish the level by the time I finish the going left here. Okay, so I can play. I think I'll just like save the heal, or maybe I'll do a super shield like right now. Yeah, I'll super shield this so I have like so much health, and I can just kind of sit here and wait for the level to end. There we go. Convert Pygame to WebAssembly. There's probably ways to do like transpilers to do that, but aren't very good. That's my guess. I've seen like stuff that converts to JavaScript, but it wasn't like a fully complete transpiler. So I would say no for now. How long did it take you to make this game using your toolset, and how long did it take to code the toolset yourself? So this game, like the game I'm playing right now, I didn't really have a toolset for when I made. I think I had like maybe a one 150 line file for entities, and that was about it. So I would say, yeah, there's not much that went into the toolset here. So the game itself was like 120 hours. So if you include the quote-unquote toolset, which is that one file, it's like what, 125 hours. So not much. All right, I think I'm halfway. I think this is gonna be the only run I do today because I've already been streaming for almost 3 hours. And I do have stuff to do. I need to work on Vagrant, and then I also need to do school. Yeah, things are starting to get chaotic. This is where you really need some shields and stuff. Like I have not been pulling my anti-hazards here, which is kind of annoying. I'll play defense. And I'll draw. I need to get rid of the bombing drone. It's not particularly useful. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna actually put the regen here. I think I need it. My hand's kind of full. That's about as good of a draw as I could have hoped for. Except for maybe, like, I would have preferred an anti-hazard over a shield. Ooh. There's so much stuff to dodge. I don't like this area. It's too red. I can't see the projectiles very easily, or they don't stand out as much. It's harder to dodge them. So I can play the defense invincibility into the shield, but I might want to do it the other way around because the map's going to get pretty chaotic towards the end there. Oh, did I get the swelling time curse? I guess that's probably about average getting it at this point. Because there's only like 6 curses or something. And I've already pulled like, what, 5 of them? That thing's trapping my exit. I might be able to bait it and go left. Let's see. Yeah, like that. But and then I have to like jump over it, and that's like dangerous. Okay, so I'm gonna play the shield. I guess I'll play an attack drone and try to get rid of this thing. It's missing. Get out of here, thingy. No, I don't want to be down here. This is so dangerous. Look at all this stuff. I'm gonna turn on defensive invincibility. Okay, I've got a bunch of energy from just killing a bunch of stuff. I don't have much health, so I'm actually getting in a risky spot here. I'm gonna wait, and then maybe I'll play another attack drone, and at the end here. Oh. I'm trying to like get rid of that. Okay, so I'm gonna do this combo. There we go. I got through. Dangerous, but I made it. So things are really starting to get dangerous, so I'm probably gonna fail soon. Just because I don't have enough anti-hazard drone cards. If you make a Pygame based game engine, would I try it? No. I'm not interested in like Pygame game engines. That doesn't interest me really. The whole reason I use Pygame is because I like the freedom to work on a I like the development speed and the freedom to work on a lower level of my own tool set. So, like, working with someone else's stuff defeats the purpose. My tool set is on Patreon. There's some like use case, like there's rules for using it, but it's pretty open. Alright, what'd I get here? I still haven't pulled the anti-hazard. Like, I think there's one in my deck or something. I don't see it that often. I seem to recall there's like a rare card of some kind that would be really good for me to add to my deck, but I don't remember what it was. I might be able to kill this thing with an attack drone here. Here we go. Look at that. I killed it. I am gonna look for cards. I got a shield. I'll take it. Alright. Look at all these cards I got. I'll use the heal. I'll use that now, I guess. Do I want to use Impending Doom? You know what? I'm halfway down. I'm gonna do it, like... So this card makes it so it makes this level significantly more difficult. But it gets me through it faster, which means that in the long run, because the difficulty scales with time, since I finish this level faster now, it makes the difficulty easier in the long run. So it's like a trade-off. If you can take the risk at the moment, it benefits you in the long run. I'm gonna use a shield. I've only got 20 seconds left now. And I'll play a second shield in a bit here, probably. I don't know. I'll do one more loop. There's nothing that's gonna bounce me around. I don't think I can just run through here pretty fast. And then just drop like right here. So play another shield, go straight down, and down there. Draw 3. This is preferable over the draw 2. I will take that. I used to think it wasn't, but now when you have all this mana that you're not using, or energy, I don't know, it's useful. I don't think I've been to this area yet today. Maybe I have, I don't know. But this is my, like, this one has the best music, I think. The green one looks the best. And then the one that I've been in for the most time, like the red-ish one, like the red one with the green background that I was just in, it looks bad and it has bad music. So, and the enemies are super annoying because there's different enemies for each area. They overlap some, but like they have their own unique set in general. I can increase my max health out. Now I've got 10 stacks of that. I'll draw 2. There's no way I'm playing that again. No. Okay, this is already a dangerous spot. I'm at 2/3 health, and I don't think I have healing items. No, I have a regen. Okay. I'm gonna play the super shield and just try to run up into the left. Yeah, this is why you use the super shield. Look at all the damage it took. I think I took like 4 hits there or something. Oh, there's a big mushroom there. Yeah, super shield. My goodness. Okay, so this is where I use regen. Oh, I can't. Now I can. This is becoming problematic very quickly. But I do have the high ground. I might die here. Oh, not what I need right now. Do I have any shields? Anything? No, this is a dud hand. I have to play this card to get stuff out of my hand. I'm probably gonna lose here. This is why I need more anti-hazards. I could survive this if I had an anti-hazard. And I need to get rid of this bombing drone. It's like a dud card. There's no way I can use it. It doesn't do very much damage. And so if I play this very carefully, yeah. Oh, that might help. I'm cheesing it a little bit with excessive pausing. So there's nothing in the middle right here yet. So I might just pull off the shield, and if I can pull off the shield, I might be able to get something else. So the question is, do I go left and up? Because I know there's that spike thing sitting on the roof that's gonna drop on me. Or do I go to the right, where there's like all those green blob things that fly and drop bullets on me? I think the solution here is to go to the right and hope that the shroom above me doesn't land on me. So, do I jump over or do I go under? I'm leaning towards over. Oh, I think that was the wrong choice. But I did make it across. My shield's already almost gone. I've got 17 seconds left. So I want to time it so that I reach the exit at the end of the 17 seconds. I have 1 energy. I don't see myself getting another. I'm pretty sure that, because it only spawns a certain amount of cards depending on how many cards you have in your hand. Well, it's like a chance of spawning them, and it decreases as there are more spawned. So it effectively reaches a limit at a certain point. It's probably spawned a bunch of cards up and to the left where that spiky thing that drops from the roof is. I cannot safely go there. I can almost guarantee I'll die if I go there. Unless there's a card that spawns in the middle that happens to be a heal. I'm going to have to survive these 17 seconds on a quarter health with a tiny little shield. So I've got these flying shroom things coming up below me. Fortunately, they only shoot below, but I think when they shoot, they bounce up a little bit, so they could be a threat here. I think I'm going to wait till I get close and then jump over them. Oh, I know, I gotta go now. So now I have to like dance around the middle here and then try to... So... 11 seconds, can I make it? Oh, I don't think that was right. 6 seconds. I actually might be able to make this. Yes, yes! That was one of the sketchiest things I've done. Oh. Reading chat now. I'll move on to the next level so you guys can at least see. Cool. It's a good looking level. Have I tried an engine? Yes, I have. Do you make all the art for this game as well? Yes, I did. And this was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago? 3.5 years ago. So I'm a lot better at art now, but yeah. How do you draw your sprites? I use mouse and key. Well, I use my mouse most of the time. Sometimes for bigger stuff, I'll use a drawing tablet, but mostly my mouse. Like this game was drawn entirely with a mouse because I didn't have a drawing tablet at the time. Oh, never mind, I did. Some of the card artwork I used a tablet for. Actually, for about half of it, I think. But everything else was mouse. Actually, no, I think the background might have been a tablet. But I can draw just as well with a mouse pretty much. It's just that it's quicker to draw with a tablet sometimes on larger stuff. But for smaller stuff, I'll use a mouse and I'll use MS Paint. If you could use Pygame and C++ the same way you do in Python, would you use C++ instead of Python for the performance? I mean, you can use that's what SDL is, and no, I don't, because I don't want to code in C++ because you're writing a lot of code and you're not getting stuff done very quick. SDL was originally meant for C and C++, and Pygame is just a wrapper, so you can use SDL with Python. So yeah, that already exists. How long did it take you to learn Python? Sorry, I've been doing it as long as I've been doing game development, so 8 years. I mean, I don't think there's like a point where you say you've learned art, but yeah. All right. What formula do they use to make a sprite jump? I have a video about that. You just change the velocity. The levels are not procedurally generated. There's like, I think 3, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. There's like 2 or 3, I think 2 actually, layouts for each of the 3 zones. So I think there's like 6 total or something. All right. So, okay, I'm gonna try to be more careful this time. Maybe I will set a, I don't think I'll be able to get all the way through here, but I may be able to set a record. Like, look at all this, like, I just saw like, what, 6 or 7 enemies spawn right there in those couple seconds. I've got a rock flying towards me, a flower that's gonna burn me if I stand here, and I've also got the flying thing coming towards me, and a mushroom above me that's also flying for me that's gonna knock me into something else. I need to get rid of those combo rockets, or no, actually no, I think the cost is too high. I think if there were 6 I would keep them, I'll probably get rid of them. I'll probably play the regen in a moment here. I have 2 good healing things. And this is a card I can get rid of if I need to. It's low cost. But the increased max energy and the combo rockets are kind of clogging my hand. I think the best option here is to jump and go to the right. Over the rock thingy. I still caught on fire. And then I go right again. No, I don't want to go that way. I'm on fire. So this I think is where I use the regen. And I just try to get over here. There's so much fire. I need a bombing drone is not what I needed. I might lose just because I pulled that bombing drone. I need to get that out of my deck. I should probably just switch it with a heal if I get the chance. I'm gonna save that super shield for... Actually, you know what? I might try and get rid of this bombing drone now. And then I can use an drone overclock. Actually, I don't, that's risky, but... Did I already... I already used my regen. You want to be on the top of the map with the bombing drone because it drops something that explodes like that. And then I can use the overclock. And then that'll create a lot of projectiles that should like protect me and give me some energy. So like this is actually helping a decent amount. So maybe I shouldn't get rid of it. It's just like I don't know. I think the other drones are just better. And the costs for them is lower. And like I got a lot of benefit out of that because I had the overclock card. Oh, I didn't have enough energy to use the combo rockets with that. I can still use it, I guess. Ooh, that would be funny. Maybe I'll wait and see if I can use it. Come on, shoot left. I need... Okay, no, so now I use the combo rockets, and now we get some fun. Oh no, I lost it! No. Well, I guess that gets rid of the card at least. I'll wait for the thing to explode and I'll jump over there. Okay, so now I can go over here, grab that. And so now I have a shield. And then, I think I saw a card below me. I'm gonna wait for a moment before I try and grab that. The levels are getting very difficult. You make like one mistake and you're done. Alright. So this shield will last to the end, and then I can heal too. Well, I should have used a super shield probably. I'll just hang around here, I guess. Or, I'll heal, and then I'll probably go down to the exit now. And just stay here, and I'm good. Alright. Okay, revive, that's a good start. Heal. Not a fan of the combo rockets with the attack drone. Actually, can I play both? I can play both if I get enough. I need 15. So that's playable. Ooh, overclock. I might wait for 18 and play all three because it's funny. It's better with the defense drone though. Actually, the bomber drone's actually the best for the that type of thing, but I almost did it. I just wasn't careful about my cooldowns last time, but gonna have some fun here. All right, so I play the attack drone and then the combo rockets. I need to get towards something that can hit. Oh, once I get towards an enemy I can hit, I can play this overclock. Oh, I can hit that thing. Cool. So it just basically fires a bunch of rockets as I... Oh, I thought I played it. Maybe I didn't play the overclock. Or maybe I did and I just pulled another one. I don't remember. I could do the same thing with the defense... Oh, no. What is it? Attack rockets or whatever are gone. But, I could use the defense drone. I don't know if I want to use it now, because the revive is preferable. I'm gonna try to go up and get through this area here. I don't think I can play that card, but... Did I just pull regen, or...? Yeah, okay, that's useful. So I should be good for this level. Finally, anti-hazard. This is the power of anti-hazard. I can just sit here, watch. Okay, now, maybe with that thing right there, maybe not. You have to move away from standing next to things, especially certain types of enemies. But, like, you can just kind of sit here. Also, like if an enemy jumps at me or something, it won't stop it. So I mean, you kind of still have to have shields and stuff. But, like, this is the strongest card in the game. I might be able to play that increased max health. I'll try. Let's see what happens. I forgot. Oh, this is the best map to get. I think it has the nicest loop. I think. Maybe. That pit is a bit dangerous, but can I play that safely? I have a heal. Let's see. I'm gonna go for the win. I'm gonna play it because it's like a long-term benefit thing to play it, and I wanna actually beat this game more than I wanna just try to do well consistently. So I've taken a lot of risks in this run so far. Oh, look at this. What is this? I need to get like a defense drone out soon or something. Like I don't know if I wanted to do the defense drone though, because I'll do it actually. So it'll keep stuff away from me, kind of. Not the projectile, so it's like the inverse of the anti-hazard. So you want both of them at the same time, that is the ideal. So I can play that heal now. There should be like cards down. That is really bad for me. Okay, an anti-hazard helps a lot. I'll play the blood. Like, no, I don't. What does it play here? I'm like concerningly low on health. I could like get through kind of with this, but I need to get a heal soon. I have the bloodthirst, so if I can play the attack drone later, I can heal. But that's not preferable. I guess I'll sit here and then try and play anti-hazard. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Two drones at once. Just two drones is a little bit chaotic. But yeah, the anti-hazard is just so strong. Like, it did so much to get me out of that situation. So the bloodthirst is 30 seconds, which is as long as the attack drone. So ideally, I wait until 10 energy before using it. Oh, revive. Yes, that's actually better. I'm gonna go back this way. So even though I'm low, I have a revive active. Anti-hazard, let's do another one. What is this? I'm waiting for those things to move again. So I just triggered my revive there. So now if I run out of health, I actually die. I can use a super shield and get to the end because it's 10 seconds and there's 6 seconds left. So I can just sit here for a moment and then run for the exit and I'm good. Sketchy plays, let's go. That revive was very helpful. Defensive invincibility is also really good. Like late game, it's really strong. What do I want to get rid of here? I actually think I'm gonna get rid of the bombing drone. Where is it? Finish drone, attack drone. Where's the bombing drone? Bombing drone, here it is. I don't want to draw two. Okay, here's the annoying curse, the one where you can't stand on the ground. Oh, an anti-hazard. This is a good start. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I gotta wait. So if I think I'm on floor 21, which means I've got 9 left to go through, which means at minimum, if without pausing, I have like what 20 minutes of the game left to go still. Man, I started this run. What was it? 4 p.m. on my time. So I've been going for like 5 hours. No, 3. I'm blind. Okay, 3. But I mean, I was talking for like almost 2 hours. But still, this is like an hour-long run with breaks, of course. But so I'm gonna sit up here and then go left. Now that stream's moved. I think this one was also like the blue areas are. Oh, and I think there's like 3 maps for each though, so there's 9 maps I think. The blue areas are generally the best. There's one you don't want to get, and it's the one that's kind of like shaped like a U that I almost died on earlier. you don't want to get that one, but oh, I forgot. Yeah, don't stand on the ground. I forgot about curse state, so you keep jumping. Okay, so time for the anti-hazard, I think. And then I can do a defense while I'm at it. And let's throw in, do I wait for 10 energy so I can use all of the stuff at the same time? That would be funny. I think I'm gonna try that just for the fun. I'm gonna sit here and try to rack up some energy by shooting this stuff. But I don't do very much damage. Okay, this is gonna get dangerous in a moment here. I'm gonna try to run to the side here. Okay. So here's where the fun starts. I do that, I turn on the overclock, and then everything just dies. This is what I made this game for. This is the funnest part, is when you pull stuff off like that. I don't want to risk the impending doom right now. Actually, no, maybe. Wait, I've got so many drones on me. I'm gonna take the risk. I gotta revive. I think I'm clear. So I just play the revive in a bit here and I should be good. I'm on fire. That's not... No bueno. I lost my drones. Uh-oh. But I got a revive and like not too much time left, so I mean I should be good. Look at all that fire. Just drop down here and bye-bye. How do PYW files work? They just start Python stuff without creating the console. I have a tutorial for platformers. Yeah. Do you have issues with delta time and due to rounding issues, low frame rates? Are you using rects for your positions? Don't use rects for your positions. You can use rects, but you only use it for the collisions. You don't use it for the base position of entities. You don't have rounding issues for positions if you use like just raw floats. Rects force you to use integers, so don't use rects. And you don't have that issue. I'm assuming that's what your issue is. Impending Doom is like an early game card. You want to get that off early on. At this point, it's very risky unless you have a good setup like I just did on that last level. Ooh, that almost hit me. Is that 2? Oh no, one's the max health. I want to get this out of my hand, so I'm just going to play it even though it may not... Oh, I caught on fire and I took that hit. That's bad. Watch me lose just because I played that card, and I shouldn't have. I want to get over to the left there. Okay, so I can almost play the regen. I have 2 heals I can play too. So like, I mean, healing wise, I've got a decent set of cards, but I'm like nervous just because. Just because of my lack of drones, I would say. It's making me nervous. This, yeah, okay. I need to stop just running through things. This is not ideal. Okay, I'll play that, and then I'll look for a couple more cards, maybe. I cannot jump to that island on the left. That's where I want to be, but I can't get there. There's just so many projectiles on my way there. Okay. I'm starting to get a bunk hand here. Impending Doom, can't play that. It's not that I can't, it's not a good idea. Can't play this. That's only useful if I have a drone. This is also blocking on my hand, so I really only have 2 cards here. I have this, which can be useful in a defense drone. I'm gonna go looking for cards over here. And then I'm gonna play this, and I need that. I needed that. I really need that. If I could. Okay. I might be fine now. Oh, I hit that one thing. Okay, I might actually lose here just because. Okay, that's bad. That's really bad. I don't know how I didn't get hit there. 1 HP. 1 HP. I'm gonna play the regen. Oh! I was so close to making it through there. Because I had the invincibility. If I had gotten 1 more health there, probably. I think, if you look, I had a tiny sliver of health there. I think what happened was I got health on the frame I died. I think I was 1 frame away from surviving that, because With that hit, I would have procced my defense invincibility, which would have meant I wouldn't have been able to take damage for a bit, so my regen would have caught up and given me quite a bit of health to work with. I didn't survive that. I'm pretty sure I didn't survive that by 1 frame, because otherwise I don't think I would have seen that sliver of health there on the top left. But yeah, I made it to floor 22, so the objective was floor 30. I think I definitely need the anti-hazards to beat this. And then I think I needed to make more use of the impending dooms early on. So I think I should add those if I see them. Maybe swap out the energy, because I don't think I need that much energy. I think I focused too much on that. Yeah, swap out one of the energies for an impending doom. Swap out 1 or 2 of the attack drones for anti-hazards. Maybe throw in another revive. Something like that. I do not have a formal job right now. I just do my own thing at the moment. I haven't worked like a normal job since last December. I don't know what you're asking about with the development interface. Yeah, your position would be in floats. Anyways, I've been streaming for 3 hours, so I'm gonna end the stream here. Actually, no, I'm gonna check my deck real quick. I've played the anti-hazard 45 times. I have 2 in the deck. I went 4 in my deck. 46 times 16, 45. That's a lot. 12, 19, 25. This can work if I actually get more drones, but 48, 175 times. Look at how much I heal. That's like a useful card. 29, 16, 139, 29, 51. I've used that a lot more than I expected. 18. I need to use that more. I haven't even used this one to enough to unlock its description. That's kind of sad. I would draw 3. I have not played it very much. Douse, I don't like that. Extra jump. That's not in my deck anymore. Neither, like, this is stuff that's not in my deck now. So wall, kind of useless. Actually, no, I wouldn't say it's useless. It's just like, actually, it's pretty good. In certain decks, you can set up. I think there's a way to, like, if you have enough. Like, you don't want just one of them in your deck. You want a deck built around like walls and platforms. If you do that, but it can be pretty strong. I think it blocks projectiles, and I think you can stand on it. This one actually, I think, can be pretty OP. You just gotta build a deck around it. So that one, like, that's very situational. It's hard to get to proc properly. It's really strong if you get it to work, but I mean, this game is about consistency. It's not about pulling off the strong moments. These 2 are, like, not particularly useful. I should have made them 10 seconds. This is actually pretty good. It can be pretty good. You gotta be skilled to use it well. This is useful if you get a bunch of expensive cards, which I kind of do. It might be useful for me now. Oh no, I think there's a bug in it. Yeah, there's a bug in this, which causes some problems with it. So the issue is, so it'll play a random card in your hand, and it won't take the mana for using it. But there's a bug. I don't know why I didn't catch this when I was making the card. There's a bug where if you don't have enough mana to use it in the first place, even though you're not going to end up using the mana, it won't let you play whatever card is making you randomly play. So this card would be useful if it weren't for that bug. So this is the card that's, like, mostly not useful because of that one bug. Bomber can work, but you gotta have this, like, a shield deck. And like, what is it, Bloodthirst or whatever. Burns, else? It's good for proccing stuff. I don't have a proc-based deck, so it's not useful for me. I kind of want to try a proc deck, but this is like a dangerous card. I think it's a full heal. I wonder if I should put this in. I don't know. I feel like if you get to the point where you have to use this, you've already kind of lost because it hurts you in the long run. But it'll pretty much make it so you pass whatever level you're on just because it gives you a full heal for 1 energy. And then it like wastes a spot in your hand if you're trying to avoid using it. So like, yeah. This one actually, I'm wondering if I should have kept this. I don't know. In my deck. Can be pretty strong, I think, later on. Rock Burst is like one of the worst cards in the game. Repel might be useful. Like it does. I don't think there's any reason to use Repel over Projectile Conversion actually. I need more redraws. I need to replace all my draw 2s with redraws. Like that's part of what's messing me up. I get bunk hands and I don't have any way to get her out of it. Redraws are kind of a safeguard against that because it discards your whole hand and draws like 4 or something or 5. I can't remember. I have a bunch of cards here that I have not found yet. I believe like 2 of these are really good and I just don't have them. Yeah. How do I handle animation? It's pretty much the same way I do it in my tutorial, so you can just look that up. It's just like more complex, more like wrapped functionality. Yeah. I'm going to end the stream here because I have been going for 3.5 hours. So